Do do do, theme song. Do do do, I'm broke so this is my theme song. Do do do, just imagine this is an awesome theme song. Do do, theme song. Left of the box. Hello, welcome to Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to this spooky Halloween special. I might have to change out my teeth. A very kind friend of mine got me a new set, and these are bigger than I'm used to. And now that I'm talking with them in, I'm not entirely sure I can do this with these ones. But they look good. They're a bit longer than my regular ones, but we'll see how it goes. I might have to switch them out at some point. Because I just also did the fill of them today. So yeah, we'll see. But thank you to the friend who got these for me. They feel a bit loose. I might have to redo them at some point, but yeah. They're a bit bigger than my regular set. But we'll see how it goes. Welcome. I'm all dressed up. I told Minuet that I would dress up as her this Halloween, and so this is me as Minuet. So far in the sandbox, we have Mudbuds, the reference frame, who will be lurking as they are handing out candy, and Jet. Real John was here earlier, but had to leave, so bye. I don't really have much planned for today. Just figuring we could talk about horror stories, what we like, that sort of thing, as per my usual Halloween live streams, I suppose. Yeah, just a second. I'm going to switch these out. Oof. Don't worry, I'm still here. It's just those ones I need to get used to, I think, before I try doing anything prolonged with them. But these other set I'm used to, so. That's one. It's taken all the magic away from it, I know. And that's two. Okay, yep, I can speak much better with these. Hello! So these ones are smaller, but I can speak better with them in. But I still appreciate my friend getting them as a backup, those ones. And so, I guess I do want to update people on something that's been happening. I recently put out some posts on all my social medias, including my Facebook page, that I do need some financial help right now because my car, both the front and the back brake pads need to be replaced. In fact, the back brake pads were so bad they wouldn't let me leave with my car until they were fixed because my car wasn't road safe, which is very disconcerting. And the front ones still need to be replaced. It's just I could wait pretty much until I get my winter tires put on, and then they need to go on, which is a bill of over $1,000. And then my cat Frodo, I had to take him back to the vet, got some blood work done to see if he is healthy enough to have the mass on his neck removed. And then I took him back on, I think it was Thursday, to get a second blood test, not the full one that I got before, but a second one to double check some numbers. Because he's 18 years old, he has kidney issues. Putting him under, sedating him is really, really risky. But I think the mass is continuing to grow, so it needs to be removed. And I'm super worried about that. And, but it is just on the skin. Like you can pull, like you can feel under it, and it's just on the skin. So it wouldn't be a long surgery. It'd be very quick. So I'm still waiting to hear. So far that was almost $300 in vet bills in 1 week. And then if he does end up getting the surgery, I have no idea how much that will cost. And so I put out a plea for help. And with that, also, I made a pledge to pay it forward as best as I can. And so with every $300 raised towards these bills, I am doing a portrait at cost for somebody who lives with poverty. And what that means is the only thing the person would be responsible for is the cost it gets to get it scanned, to have a print so I can have something for my records, and the shipping. That is it. And I have to be careful because I just put all this makeup on. Holy fucking wow, you guys. There's a lot of times I feel alone in this world. But then there are moments that make me realize we are all in this together, and we are here to support each other and care for each other. And I can now say 6 portraits will be available to people who live with poverty. So if you are one of the people that live with poverty, send me an email at sandylovis@gmail.com. And it's basically going to be a first come, first serve basis. And I'll let you know how much the print, like how much the print and the scanning will cost. I won't know how much shipping is until it ships, to see if that's something that you can afford. And yeah, it's basically going to be a first come, first serve type basis. So please, if you're living with poverty, and I don't know what the estimate is, but let's say $60, I think is a ballpark, and that would include shipping. Send me an email with some pictures, and I'll see if the pictures are good enough. And it's basically just going to be a first come, first serve basis. So I have to try to not get emotional once I put all this makeup on. But yeah, so that's, yeah. But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. There's some people in my life that put some really big amounts towards the bills that I didn't think they cared that much. So it's nice. It's very affirming. So right now I just need to wait to hear back from the vet, because I took Frodo in yesterday for the second blood test to see if he's healthy enough, and I hope he is, because that mass on his neck is really worrying me, because he seems so healthy other than that. Like, I know he has the kidney issues, but he seems so healthy other than that. He's running around, he plays with his brother, he can jump up on the bed, he's been eating a decent amount. The vet said he even put on some weight. Like, I would hate in the end to have to put him down because the mass starts to choke him or something, which is just a horrific thought. So I am the equivalent of agnostic praying, that they think he can go through the surgery, and if he can, I will be a wreck that day, because it will be risky. It will be risky for him to go through that surgery, but I don't think there's much of an alternative. But if they flat out say it will unalive him, then anyway, welcome everyone to the SandBox. Let's try to change this up a bit. So, Bobby, I am Sandy, but I'm dressed up as Minuet. You see, last Wednesday, Minuet was on this space, and I insisted that she dress up for Halloween. And so, what she did is she went on as a human. She did that for me. I appreciate it because I know how much she despises being referred to as a human. And so to kind of pay it back to her, I said that I would dress up as her for Halloween. So this is me dressed up as Minuet. It's not Minuet. But yes, welcome. I hope you like the look. It took a while to get all this done for you all. But yes. Let's check and see what people are saying, because like I said, I don't really have much planned today. I figured we can watch some Ryan George because he's done some spooky things, which is just darling. I love Ryan George so much, and I've shared his videos on here before without issues, so I'm sure we can do it again. And he is just one of the funniest people, I think, online. And he's Canadian, which makes a lot of sense, actually. And I can read some more of my book. Let me get it out here for you to see. This desk is a mess. So this here, I can read either the second chapter or half of another chapter. You see, I have to be kind of cautious as to what I read online because I don't want to give away any spoilers. And so I can read the second chapter because I've already read the first chapter a few times. And so I would imagine most of you have probably heard the first chapter. And I don't want to keep on rereading the first chapter. So I can read the second chapter. But also I have this. I found this. I had this when I was a kid. It's called Tales for the Midnight Hour. And it was just a cute little book for like campfire stories. So short horror stories that were super cute. Just going through the book again, remembering some of them, I'm like, oh wow. So I could read some of those. And what I would do is I would recommend that you turn off all of the lights in your place so that the only light is the glow from the computer screen to really set the mood. Hi, sweetie. Sorry, I'm not dressed for you to jump up on me today. Abernathy wants up, but this outfit isn't cat friendly. No, 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 go, scooch. Do I have to close the door? Do I have to close the door? I might have, go. Yeah, this outfit isn't exactly friendly to having cats jump up. But let's see what people are saying in the sandbox because we've had a few more people join. There's Bobby, Marty, the reference frame. All right, I got the reference frame. The Wild West. Welcome, everyone. Oh, hello, Carrie Woods. And the True Democratic North. Welcome. Oh, there's Germ as well. So I will be reminding people throughout this live stream of the deal for the portraits. And to show you what you'd be getting, this is a work in progress. So that there is a work in progress. And so, yeah, it'd be the cost of the scan, a print for my records, and the shipping. And then depending on your resources and what you would like me to do, I could also then pick up a frame cheap and with a mat and custom cut the mat. And so then you would just be charged for the frame. I wouldn't charge you anything for the custom cut because most frames are an 11 by 14, but they have an 8 by 10 opening. And these drawings are on 9 by 12, so they're slightly too big. So the mat has to be custom cut. And I'll do that without charge to help out. But if you would rather just try to do it yourself, that's fine. And then, yeah, but that's something that I will talk about to the people who send me an email about it. So again, just for the people who are showing up, I recently had to do a fundraiser to cover some massive, massive bills that came my way. And a way to pay it forward is for every $300 raised, I would do a portrait at cost for somebody living with poverty. And you guys are just amazing. And so there are currently 6 portraits available, 6 portraits. And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And so it'll be kind of like a first come, first serve basis on who emails me, and then with the proper pictures and stuff. So, Bobby, to answer your question, who is the dog, your dog, or a friend dog? I donated a portrait to an Amnesty International fundraiser. I volunteer with Amnesty International. We had a fundraiser, and in the silent auction, one of the donations was a portrait from me. So somebody paid, and so Amnesty would get that money. So this is the winner of the silent auction. And Carrie Woods thinks I look good. Why, thank you. Or I should say, great. Why, thank you. I love dressing up as a vampire every chance I get. I just need to make sure that I don't break TOS if these fall out. I'm sure you guys would be horrified if that was the case. But you know, YouTube rules, gotta be careful. Let's see. So we got some happy Halloweens going on. Bobby says that they wish that they could help. I know the feeling. Yeah. And Marty, that's right. We are all in this together. God bless you, Sandy. Reference frame. That's great, Sandy. We appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you. I just really hope that I can get to the point where my YouTube channel is making enough money that I don't have to do this every time an expense comes up. I don't need much of an income for that to happen. Like if I just made $2,500 a month, I'd be rich, where I would have enough money to pay all my bills, be able to gain a profit, pay down my credit card, and then, you know, be able to start like a little savings so that when I need to buy a new laptop or something, I'd be able to. It doesn't take much because I live cheap. And so I'm really hoping that my YouTube channel can really just pick that up, and then this can really be a career. And I'm currently at 8,100 subscribers. I just broke the 8,100 mark. So thank you for that. I've been getting a lot of amazing support from across the pond. So thank you, all you pond jumpers. But, you know, I can talk more about like this regular stuff tomorrow, because tomorrow is the 5-year anniversary of my YouTube show, or my channel, I should say. My show has morphed a lot over those years, but I posted my first video for my channel on November 1st of 5 years ago. I think it was 2020, or was it 2019? 2020? I know it's 5 years. I can't do time math, like month and year math very easily. But I know it's been 5 years. And yeah, the channel has definitely changed since I first started. The look has changed. I've changed in how I present, but I'll be talking more about that. And I'm going to attempt my first call-in show so people can actually do what you do with the letter hack. So I'll have StreamYards set up and a link, and so all you would have to do is click the link and we can have a conversation. However, unlike with on StreamYards when Letterhack does it, you won't be able to see me because I'm just using it for audio. My main camera will be used for OBS, and you can't share the camera. So if you're watching on StreamYards, you won't be able to see me live. You'll just be able to hear me. So that way we're both at the same disadvantage because I won't be able to see you. You won't be able to see me. Hello, calibrating. Just woke up in the best place, 100%. Yeah. Bobby says that they've been sharing my channel. Thank you. Carrie Weds says, fair, you quite well endowed, lol. I am as well. I did some Halloween makeup to feel good today. I'm not doing anything, just drinking Red Bull and playing some N64. Yeah. Oh, hello, Looney Tunes 9000. Yeah, I'm just, I think after this, I might just watch a classic horror or something and chill out for a bit. Um, Gotta make sure these don't fall out. Yeah, so. So let me know in the sandbox what you would like to do first. If you would like me to read more from my book, or if you would like me to read something from this little horror book that I found from when I was a kid. So put a 1 if you would like to hear another part from my book. Put a 2 if you would like to hear a story from my little horror book from when I was a kid. We also have some Ryan George videos to go over, but I think I'll start by, let's do something spooky. So I'll talk a bit about a dream I had and nightmares. Let's talk about nightmares. So when I was a kid, I was actually able to get a handle on my dreams because I would get nightmares from time to time, and all the nightmares surrounded a theme, and that was being eaten alive by whatever. Because for me, my worst fear of dying is being eaten alive. Like, I would rather be burned to death, drowned, like any other way. But the idea of being eaten alive horrifies me, scares the shit out of me. That's probably why I like zombie movies. Why zombie movies actually scare me, even though they're hyper unrealistic, is because, they eat people. So the idea of being eaten alive is just the worst fear of mine. Oh, I'm getting a couple 1s. Jed is also a sucker for 2. Well, let's say we're going to be doing both, probably. We'll just start with one or the other. What are you chewing on? Speaking of being eaten alive, I hear one of my kitties chewing on something they're probably not supposed to be chewing on. Carrie Wood says, oh, that's scary. Mine is drowning like in a car. Yeah. For me, yeah, the idea of being eaten alive is just absolutely terrifying for me. And I remember when I was a kid and got around to seeing Jurassic Park, it was such a conflict in my head because I love dinosaurs. But that movie gave me nightmares because, the dinosaurs were eating people. And even now in some horror movies like King Kong or something of that sort, they always do that shot where they show the person falling into the wide open mouth. I can't watch that. I can't. It's too horrifying. Like even in Return of the Jedi with that sand creature eating people. Again, I can't handle that. And it's been since I was a kid. For some reason, I was just terrified of being eaten alive. Now, some of you might know, because I've talked about it a few times on my channel, some of my belief system for when you die. And I believe in a form of reincarnation, not necessarily the one that you would traditionally think of. The one that is normally thought of is like karma, which is black and white, and you're reborn on this planet, and you might be punished and be born back as an insect. I don't believe in that type of reincarnation. The type of reincarnation I believe in, you can't digress species-wise, for one thing, but also you're not restricted to this planet or this dimension, because what would be holding you here, per se? So you can live lives in other places and stuff, and my dreams are so vivid sometimes, and it's like they're memories. I dream in color for these ones. And the thing that always does it for me, and the reason why I think that this is probably in their life, is my sense of identity in it is so strong. It's kind of like, can a fish feel water? We have our own sense of identities in this life, but we're unaware of how it feels because it's always there. But then when I'm in these dreams, I feel it different. Like I'm still me, but there's like a different background noise, I guess you could say. In some of these dreams, it's so nice. to be there because I don't suffer from depression in a lot of them. Like I don't have my body image issues and whatnot. And to have those brief moments feeling what my life would be like without that is just mind blowing. But and like these worlds that I see in my dreams, they're all very capable of happening here. Like when it comes to physics and architecture, it's just they evolved in a very different direction for the most part. And some not so much. Some you would still see like houses and stuff. And for the most part, when I see people, I see humans like us. And I don't know if that's because that's just my brain's way of processing it, so I understand what I'm seeing, or if it's just some sort of like logical evolution design. That it would make sense that on planets that are similar to this one, species like humans would evolve on it. So I don't know which one it is. But there's been a couple of those dreams that I've had that are really freaky. So one that was just freaky, and then I'll get into the nightmare one. One that was just freaky was, it was 5 years after, not a zombie plague, but the plague was a form of, I guess you could say, rabies that was super contagious among humans. My guess is that it was so contagious that a large swath of the population got it. And so then they would go and attack other humans and stuff. And this was 5 years after that plague had kind of rushed through the planet. And I was walking back to my apartment. And so there was apartment complexes, and we didn't have a sidewalk. It was just kind of like a dirt path that would lead to these. And so I get to my apartment building, and the elevator had been converted to glass. Now, the reason why all the doors and everything, elevators, everything was being converted to glass. And that was because the entire population that remained had PTSD. And something that would happen is you would open a door not knowing what was on the other side and possibly be attacked because there was somebody already in that room. And so everything was being switched to glass so that you could actually see inside before you entered. And I remember looking at the elevator and thinking, nope, going to go up the stairs instead, because I was so terrified that something would go wrong with the elevator and it would go down. Because a lot of these creatures and stuff, the humans with the infection, would be like dwelling in basements and things of that sort too, places that people don't generally go. So there was also this fear of basements, which was very real. And even though there was the likelihood of the elevator not going to the floor that I wanted was, that generally speaking doesn't happen. I was still so scared of it that I'm like, no, I'm just going to walk up the stairs to my apartment. And then the front door to my apartment, like all front doors, instead of being glass that you could just see through, they were like a frosted glass so that you couldn't just see through it. But then what happens is that there was a light switch on the outside. So what you could do is flick the light on the outside and it would turn the light on in the inside. And so then if there was anything on the other side of the door, you would see the shadow. That was just the way it worked these days, that you would have a light switch for the inside on the outside so that you could see at a time going in. Even though by that time the world was still pretty safe, it's just everyone had massive PTSD from that outbreak. But the dream that I had that made me think, oh, this is where my fear of being eaten alive comes from. I had this one dream and I'm like, it left me shaking for like 3 days. It was so vivid and so real. And so in this dream, it was one of the rare times where I didn't see humans looking exactly like us. The skin color was green, but not like Gamora cartoon green. It was like a more natural color, like olives, like green olives. And so the skin color was green. And I was tall, slender, wearing cargo shorts. I think I was in my mid-20s in this dream. I had like a plum shaded hair, but then there was a couple dread locks on the front that weren't what we would see as dreadlocks here, which are knotted hair. It was clumped together by like a type of hair mud, I guess you could say. That was a brighter purple. And it was like a hair mud that kind of made these dreadlocks. And something was happening on the planet. And all I know is that the phrase was the planet was about to go dark. And that meant that most larger species, including the dominant life forms, would be wiped out. And I guess there was some other spacefaring creatures out there that knew that this was about to happen, and they were doing a bit of a scramble rescue mission. Nothing was planned. They just decided, okay, we're just going to grab a whole bunch of them and take them off the planet in order to save this species. And so it was nighttime and these ships were in the air, and I was one of the curious ones, and I went out on my balcony and I was kind of beamed up. And we were very confused as to what was happening because we weren't aware of a lot of this. And we were taken to another planet that was a very dusty desert-like planet that had an outpost where we were going to be transferred to somewhere else. And we were very scared. We weren't able to breathe the air there very well. We had like respirators on. Like we could breathe the air. It was just painful. And they put us in these trucks, but again, everything was just so rushed. It was like nothing was planned, nothing was taken into account. And so I was like at the back of this truck, like you would see a military truck with the canvas back and whatnot. But then they hit a bump and I actually fell out the back. But they didn't realize that had happened. And so I was like panicking. My breathing was, I was having troubles breathing. We were like we were all in shock, but they didn't realize I had slipped out the back. And these two ogre-like creatures approached me. And one of them just picked me up by the waist with his hand. Like that's how big they were. And I was screaming. And they took me, so there was a settlement nearby, and they took me there. And their tent area. So you would kind of approach their tent area, and they had like all these knives and tools and stuff just kind of strung up on the canvas of the tents. And it was out in the open because I don't know, like there was no risk of theft or anything of that sort. There was no roofs to these canvases either. It was all open to the sky. It was just like these canvases formed some walls. And there was a table. There were two fireplaces. And the one just kind of put me down on the table and ripped my arm out. And I remember my psyche just breaking at that point, or me was there watching this, seeing this happen. And there was that moment of like, no, this isn't happening. Like we can just put that back, even though of course you couldn't. We can just put it back on. Like this isn't happening. This isn't real. We'll just put it back on. And then they got one of their tools to start skinning me alive. Like basically I was roadkill to them. I was just something they found that they could have a snack on. And my psyche was just absolutely breaking. Like everything I was, who I was as a person, my character, my background, my struggles, my identity, just came down to these creatures' snack, a meal that they could have missed. Like I was nothing other than this edible thing to them. And I remember just screaming at them from like my perspective, like just slit the throat and end it. And then I woke up. And so I'm pretty sure that was me. And that is why I am so terrified of being eaten alive. I think that is where that comes from. But yeah, so that is that was like some of my scarier dreams. But when I was a kid, And I would get the nightmares after Jurassic Park from watching the dinosaurs eat people. I eventually was able to train myself not to have nightmares. Like before I went to bed, I would have a little mantra and stuff. And it's not that I had, what's the word when you're aware that you're dreaming? There's a word for it. When you become aware that you're in a dream. Somebody put that in the sandbox. One of you knows what I'm talking about when you become aware that you're in a dream. And it wasn't quite to that point, but it's almost like a part of me, if a dream started to turn into like a scary direction, I could change it back into something that wasn't so scary. Because, yeah, I was just terrified of being in life, but I was able to get my dreams under control for the most part. So I don't, generally speaking, I don't get nightmares. And so this dream that I had of being this green person, I was an adult when I had that one. It just seemed to kind of come out of the blue. Lucid dreaming. Thank you, reference frame. And the Wild West also did the same thing. Lucid dreaming, yes. So it's not quite lucid dreaming, but it was enough that I could, as a child, turn the direction into a different way without really being conscious as to what was happening. But yeah, so that's why I think I'm terrified of being eaten alive, is because it's happened. And the fears, like certain fears and stuff that you would have in this life, it's because they happened relatively recently in a past life. So this is maybe like within a few lifetimes ago that this happened or something. But that's just me and my belief system that, you know, I never try to impose on people. Like, that's the thing. I'm against religious institutions, especially ones where it's like you have to believe in this or else. Whereas my belief system, it's just the way I believe. You can agree with it or not. It makes no difference, you know. There's no God involved, nobody directing my life. So if you don't want to believe in it, that's nothing bad will happen to you. There's no one to worship, nothing of that sort. So there's no urge or desire or need to be like, oh, you have to convert people. Like, no, like, why? It is what it is. But yeah, so that is that. And let's see what people are saying in the sandbox. X tainted. I am my true self in my dreams. I have full control. I am free. It's addictive and hard to let go. I want to be there always. I want to be strong as I am in the dream world, but that is not reality. Yeah. Occasionally I do have lucid dreams, but it's usually in the sense where I'm asking people around me where I am, just to get very confused expressions on their face. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's kind of like if somebody said, like, what planet am I on, just out of the blue here. Let's see. The Reverend, no, the Wild West had a few dreams that I was Lucifer. Even had my wings ripped off. Ouch. Let's see. Oh, X-Tainted, if you can't see what somebody put in chat, check to make sure you're in live chat and not top chat. Frodo, are you going to come here? Are you going to show everyone your darling face? He's right here. He's right here. The cat of the hour. Nope, and he's walking out. I would have pulled him on despite the risk. Despite the risk with this outfit, I would have pulled him up onto my lap for you guys. Frodo is my world. He is also the most expensive thing in my life because all of his vet bills over his lifetime. But I haven't spent, like, I've spent more days of my life with him than I have with any other creature on this planet. Like, I haven't even spent this many days with family members type thing. Because you know, other than a week here and there for whatever reason, we've always like lived in the same place and stuff for 18 years. Like, that cat is my world. I keep on telling him he's supposed to live till he's 30, but that mass on his neck is really worrying to me. The Wild West. I wish the olives would beam me up. Well, they weren't olives. They were a different species that beamed us up. Extincted. I think I was in the reality you mentioned because I had a vivid dream about my mom and aunt turning into zombies. It was horrific, and we had to kill them to survive. Well, you see, the thing is that there would be crossovers. Like, it's not like I've lived in these worlds and nobody else has. Like, there would be crossovers. And so then that's where you can get things like maybe subconsciously the person who created Gomorrah had this image in the back of their head because of a life on this planet or something. And so there can be very similar kind of experiences to these different places. I don't know if you can hear him. He does this really loud wow sometimes at night. But yeah, it's there. Like any world that I've had a life on, there's other people on this world that has also lived there. It'd be very statistically difficult for me to be on a planet that nobody else on this planet had ever been on. So there would be crossovers. So there could be things where you have similar dreams or similar experiences and can see similar things in these very vivid dreams that you have. And could even like describe some of the same things. Let's see. Looney Tunes. I wonder bong long it took to put the makeup and costume together. Bong long? What do you mean by bong long? I think I know what you're saying. This is a little fancy. So I have the gloves, but then there's these little pointy rings here that a very kind friend of mine was able to get me a few Halloween things this year. They got me also like a larger set of fangs that I tried out earlier in the stream, but it's very hard to talk and I need more practice with them. So I put in, these are the ones that I already had from a while back. The true democratic North, everything is expensive, but when you have additional trouble with financing, this isn't their story. Yeah, because it was over $1,000 needed in car repairs. I already had to spend over $400 of that over grand. Bet bills for Frodo, which last week was close to $300. And then he might be able to get surgery. I hope he can be able to get surgery. I have no idea how much it will cost. Plus regular like annual expenses that come up. I have 8 different website domain names that all get renewed right around now. And so it's like, what do you do? But you know, there's some people in my life that I didn't realize cared that much. And it was super touching, and I can't talk too much about it right now or I'll cry, and it took me a while to put this makeup on. But I can talk more about that tomorrow when I do my call-in show. It will be a lot of fun. And it'll be very similar style to what the letter hack does, but you won't be able to see me either. So when we're speaking, it will just be like almost like a phone call, which, you know, I dislike to begin with, so we'll have the same disadvantage. Hello, Lagella DePhil. Why, thank you, saying I look gorgeous. So again, for people who are just joining up now, if you are living with poverty, because something I made a pledge to pay it forward with the donations that I've been asking for, is that for every $300, I would do an at-cost portrait for somebody living with poverty. What that means is you would pay for the cost to get it scanned, a print for my records, and shipping. And right now, 6 of those are up for grabs. So just email me at sandylofus@gmail.com. I'm not going to do anything to means test you or anything. I trust that you would never be able to afford this otherwise. So just email me and I can give you more specifics and we can work at getting a picture and stuff. And it's basically just going to be a first come, first serve basis. Carrie's saying, I'm so happy you got some great friends. It's nice to know you're not alone. Yeah. It's sometimes you do feel really alone, but then other times you kind of get blown away. But yeah, I think I'm done talking about that. And so I want to know, like, when I read my book, parts of my book on here, do you guys actually like that? Like, is that something you actually enjoy when I do that? Like, I enjoy doing it because I love my book so freaking much. But do you like hearing the story? Because I want this to be like a participation where we're doing this together, this live stream. I like the feedback and stuff. So, I want to know, like, is this something that you would actually enjoy me reading another part of my book for you all? Because there's 2 parts of my book that I can read for you today. Because I have to be very selective of what I read so that I don't give away too many spoilers. And I've already read the first chapter a couple times. I should probably clip it from this space because I read it the first time Minuet was on this space. She read the first chapter. And I've read the first chapter on this channel before a long time ago. I think it was for a Halloween special a couple years ago. Well, it wouldn't be a couple years ago. I've been live streaming for 2 years. Well, maybe a couple years ago. No, would have been last year. So maybe last year I read the first chapter, but since then it's changed slightly. When I got it transferred into paper, well, it would have been in paperback then. So yeah, anyway, I've read the first chapter a couple times. So I can read the second chapter. It's not a very long chapter. And then half of another chapter that doesn't give away too many spoilers. But Carrie Wood says, I like your voice. Why, thank you. But I want to know from a few more people if this is something you actually want to hear. Because I don't really have much planned for my Halloween special. Like every year, we can watch some Ryan George videos because he's just freaking amazing. I love him so much. And he has some spooky ones to watch. And it's nice, light fun. I've already talked about dreams and stuff, but let me know about your scary dreams in the SandBox. And let me know what you think of this look. Minuet gave it a thumbs up. She said that I did a very good job dressing up as her. But then I also have this little horror book that I found from when I was a kid. They were stories that we would read around the campfire type thing when it was dark and, you see the glow from the fire, but then it's like a curtain around you almost because once you step outside the glow, it's pitch black. And so it's like you could be sitting there, but then something could grab you and, it's like that kind of scary. Oh, I know what I can also, while I'm waiting for people to respond as to if you would actually like me to read from this book, I'll tell you of something that actually happened once that, in the end, it's probably nothing. But at the time it was super freaky. I was doing a road trip across the country when I was 17 with a friend to go out to Alberta to see some of my family and come back. And so we drove through the States. Me and my friend drove through the States to get there, and we drove back through Canada. But while we were in the States, we were looking for a place to camp for the night. And we came across this campground, and we were trying to find if anyone was awake because it was already fairly late. And there was like the main building, and there was, when the backlight's on, but it didn't really seem like nobody was there and stuff. But this was like a campground. And so we decided, well, why don't we drive into it to see if we can ask anyone, you know, how to register for the night or not. And so we start driving down this really twisty path and we see all these campsites, but they're all empty. And it's like, how could this campground, this camp be empty? Because, you know, it was the summer, people would be camping that time of year, but there was no one there. And so we kept on down this twisty path. I wasn't driving, my friend was driving at the time. And then all of a sudden we turned the corner and there's this massive field with like those spotlights from stadiums shining down into this field, like the ones that you would see like at football games, like the ones with the multiple things or whatever. And my friend just, he like almost spun the car out, turning around, and we like booted it out of there because we're like, okay, there's some cult shit going on here or something. We're about to get sacrificed. We need to get out of here. And he drove down that path so fast so that we could get out of there because all of a sudden it's like, what the hell was that? We didn't want to stick around long enough to find out if there's anything else more to it. Lagello was it's late here, so it would be apt. I think storytelling would be good. The reference frame, I usually don't remark on looks, but since you asked, you look fantastic, Sandy. I already shared one earlier, so I enjoy hearing from your book. I thank you. The Wild West, I think you could read a cereal box and I'd enjoy it, so it doesn't matter what you chose to me. And calibrating, you read from your book. Been quarantining for 42 days. Is it on here? So the first time Minuet, that's me as this, was on this space. So it would be the last Wednesday of the month. And the first time Minuet was on, she read the first chapter. I've read the first chapter. It should be available on my channel somewhere. I don't know how up to date that chapter is though, because I did make some tweaks, but it would more or less be the same. So you can find them on this space. So you would have to do some date math, to find out what the first Wednesday of the, like when Minuet was first on, because I don't think they clipped it. I should probably clip it. And you can, then go to the live stream of this space on that channel and, just scroll through to where you see me, and then about a half hour into it is when Minuet starts reading from this book. And I'm saying Minuet because Minuet is the main character of this book. And so basically the last Wednesday of the month, when I go on this space, I go on as Minuet to give, you know, social and political commentary from the perspective of a 1400-year-old vampire. So you can see it there, but I'm pretty sure it's available on my channel too. Do you know what? Why don't I just look for you guys while I'm here? Let's see if we go here, because I would imagine if I just type in the okay, you're going to hear my, oh no, since it's live, you won't hear it. Let's see, videos. Well, if you just ACR. Yep, you can find it on here from 11 months ago, so probably for the Halloween live stream last year is when I read it. It has the old cover on it, so yeah. Yeah, if you just type in Necroplasm into my YouTube channel, you'll find it. So what you would see there isn't, I made some tweaks into this cover. Like when I made this cover, I made some changes, but they're very minor. They feel like they're very minor, but also very major to me. So you will still get the whole gist of the first chapter from that, but there's been some minor tweaks to it. Or you can go to, so here, let me just, so on my channel here, Oops, no, I have to be over here for this. So Necroplasm, my first published book, Necroplasm, author note, and chapter 1. And so the author note will tell you a little bit more about why I wrote the book, and the history behind that, and then you will hear the first chapter. And like I said, it's mostly the same. There's just some minor tweaks to it. Or if I go to this space, and let's see if I go to the calendar, I think I'll have to, oops, yeah, so let's do live. Scroll down to the bottom. Okay, so it started in June, so it'd be the last. Oh, it's nice that they have all of the dates on these. It will make that easier. And let's see. So the last Wednesday of June. Let's see, would have been the 25th. Just going to mute the audio for a second so you don't hear this. Just so that I can actually let you guys know exactly. Okay, yep. So I just muted the audio, but here we go. So why is this? Oh, right, I made it bigger. There we go. So this is me as Minuet. So this is June 25th. You go to about the 2.5 hour mark into it, and you'll see me reading the book. Hello, MIDI doctors. Thank you so much for the $4 or the foreign currency with the cute little lemon and lime. Super appreciate it. Yeah, so you can go back here to see me read from the first chapter of the book. The second chapter is not very long, so I can read that for you guys today, as well as part of another chapter. And so this one would be the up-to-date chapter. So the current chapter that's in this version of the book. If you want to, and I actually think I did a better job reading it than, so the one on my channel, I did a different background. I was reading it from the screen up close, but I think I did a better job reading it here. When I was, because I was reading from the book, like the actual paper book, as opposed to trying to read it off a screen. Let's do this. And I have a very convoluted way of doing something, but here we go. Let's see. And it's very hard to do this when I have these on. There we go. And then I can do this, and then I do this, and then I can do this. Thank you for the 4 currency and the lemon lime MIDI doctors. I super appreciate it. So, yeah. Oh, why don't I do something nice for you? And I'll put the link to that episode of this space in the SandBox so that you can see it. So this is the episode of this space. You go in about 2.5 hours and you'll see me start reading from the book. And so that's the first chapter there. Many doctors is saying everyone has a Halloween stream. It wouldn't surprise me. But is everyone dressed up like this? And if you read the first chapter of my book or watch it on here, you'll understand why I have a white streak in my hair. Because the vampires, when they're able to digest human blood, they develop a white streak in their hair at puberty. Hello, Candy, Can. I think you know who I'm trying to say. Welcome to the SandBox, saying I'm from Sweden. Let's see, what else are people saying? But yes, Looney Tunes has been nice enough to start tossing some links into there, some for my book. You can also find the links to the Amazon, because that's where the book is for sale, as an ebook or a paperback in the description box below. Let's see. So, Jet saying, I do clip Minuet, Sandy. I'm just not the one posting them. So is there a clip of it on this space of Minuet? Let's see if you go to videos. Would it be... Oh. No. It doesn't look like they've been posted to this space, but yeah, I could also clip it too. So yeah, I've read the first chapter. So people, if you want, you can just skip hearing the second chapter right now. Although you can, I think, hear them out of order. No, not really. Now that I think about it, no. It's best to read them in order or hear them in order. So when you see me holding up the book, just plug your ears or something, or listen to it now, and then you can go back and watch the first chapter, or watch the first chapter and then like pause this, watch the first chapter and come back. Your choice. Let's see. Midi Doctor says, I have a good costume. Why, thank you. I'm dressed up as a vampire from my book named Minuet. Hello, Christy. Calibrating saying, you'll kill me not reading. Christy saying, best pair of tatas on the internet, respectively, of course. Hello, Orb Rumor. Yes, well, let's just say I am putting them on display. So it is what it is. I'm just trying not to fall out because of TOS on YouTube. Like, yeah, it's one of the things, like, since they've always been large, I've always gotten a lot of attention for them, but it's always one of those autistic weird things. It's like people are complimenting me for something I had no control over. Because I had no say in what these look like. But, you know, when people want to compliment me on my makeup or my hair or something of that sort, or my outfit, those compliments I feel more, I guess, because those are things that I actually had to put effort into. They weren't just things that naturally appeared on me. So, yeah. Let's see. Or Bruner, is that some kind of bust? I don't know what you mean by that. This is my bust. Gotta make sure I don't fall out, like I said. Yeah, the true Democratic North says those are a good pair. Yeah. I won a good pair in the gene pool. And Chrissy, it's all working for me, chica. Yeah. But I guess, so why don't I read the second chapter from my book? And, you know, you can pause it or just look away, do something else while I'm reading it. It's not a long chapter. And then you can go back, watch the first chapter, and then watch this chapter. I put the link in here for the stream that I did that on, so that you can see. Just go to about the 2.5 hour mark, and you'll see where I start reading the first chapter. But I can read the second chapter from Necroplasm. And silly me has words in here that I can't pronounce. Chapter 3, though, is super long, so I won't be reading chapter 3 on here. Oops. Keep on skipping over chapter 2. How did I keep on skipping over that? Chapter 1. There we go, chapter 2. Hello, Kevin Logan and the viewers. Welcome to my Halloween live stream. Thank you for the raid. I was just about to start reading part from my horror book, the second chapter. Okay, now we're going back into it. We have to back up now so that I can fill everyone in on about what's happened. So we'll put a pause on this for now. I know everyone's getting all excited, but yeah. I wrote a book. It's a vampire horror. I really love it. Bobby apparently knows it because they're putting, we call it Necroplasm, and that is the name of chapter 2. But yes, welcome to my Halloween live stream where I dress up as a vampire. So I'm dressed up as Minuet, the vampire from my book. And I'm about to read chapter 2 in it. I put the link in the SandBox, which is my chat here. Let's just, should still be, there we go. So this is another channel that I make appearances on called This Space. And the goal with this space, so also if you're a pawn jumper, go check out This Space, like and subscribe to it. But what their ultimate goal is to have a 24/7 leftist YouTube channel with a whole bunch of different content creators. Not necessarily even political stuff, like maybe just talking about movies and stuff, but they're starting small. So right now it's just Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from about 1 p.m. to midnight. And I'm on the slate of one of their first contributors. So every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, I go on to give my take as the token Canadian contributor. There's other Canadians that have syndicated content on, but I think I'm the only one that gives original content to This Space. And the last Wednesday of every month, I go on as Minuet, the character from my book, who is a 1400-year-old vampire, to give social and political commentary from that perspective, which is always very fun. And so the first time I did that, I read the first chapter of the book. So I'm about to read the second one. And so you can hear the second one without watching the first one first, but it's best to do them in order. But you all just popped over from across the pond, so I'll just fill people in on some things. So recently I had to put a call out there for some help financially because my car needs over $1,000 in repairs, and my 18-year-old cat had to go to the vet, get some blood work done because he has mass on the side of his neck, and the blood work is to find out if he is healthy enough to have the surgery to remove it. So that was $300 this past week, to cover that. And there's also annual expenses that come up this time of year. So let's just say I was really hurting. And so I put out a call for help. And that call was very generously answered by some people that I wasn't quite expecting that level of support from. And one of the things that I made a pledge to in order to pay it forward was for every $300 raised towards these bills, I would be doing a portrait at cost for somebody living with poverty. And what is a portrait, you ask? It's of a pet or a person. I do pencil portraits. This is a work in progress. So this is still hours away from being done to kind of give you an idea of the scope of what you'd be getting. And so somebody living with poverty can get that at cost. which means they're just paying for the cost to get it digitally scanned professionally, a print for my records, and shipping. And so if you are living with poverty, please email sandylovis@gmail.com and I'll let you know how much that is and see if that's within your range. It's going to be a first come, first serve type thing. And I'm not going to be vetting anyone. There's no means testing. If you email me, I trust that you would never be able to pay for one of those without this discount. And because of the absolutely amazing, generous people out there, right now, 6 people with poverty can get one of these portraits at cost. So please, I still need help. Like it's still not covered everything because hopefully Frodo can have the surgery. I have no idea how much that will cost. So still got a fair bit to go. So any help that you can give through PayPal, which is linked below, or send an e-transfer, which is also in a link below. Super appreciate it. But welcome. Also, tomorrow, I'm going to be doing my first call-in show for my 5-year anniversary of Left of the Box. Check that out. And then Sunday will be my regular news live stream where I talk primarily about Canadian politics, but also other social issues and stuff. And I do talk about cross-pond issues at times because we've got a lot in common. Okay. Bobby has the book. Yes. So hopefully some of you pond jumpers have stuck around because I'm about to read the second chapter. So put the link in there a couple times for the episode of this space where I read the first chapter so you can go back and read it, or you can just tune out while I read the second chapter because it's best to do them in order. And then there's also part of a chapter I can read later on in the stream if you all like. It's just I have to be selective so I'm not giving away too many spoilers. It's just a fun part and it's more horror aligned with the horror part. So that might be a fun part to read. Yes, Jet, I'll be doing a call-in show like the Letter Hack does. Only like I'll be using StreamYards, so you would just have to click on the link, but you won't be able to see me. So it's not quite like the StreamYards because I use OBS to stream. And I want OBS to have my good camera. So that means I can't split the camera. So the StreamYards won't have my camera. So we won't actually be able to see each other. So we'll have that same disadvantage because it will be interesting. It will be interesting. So it'll just be audio. But yeah. But let's see what people are saying. Looney Tunes says, I'm in. You'll be hearing my voice. I will recognize it, maybe. I'm not good at recognizing people and stuff out of context. Yeah, so tomorrow, probably at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing the call-in show. And then Sunday, I'll be doing my regular news live stream, which usually ends up being around 6 p.m. unless I can get everything together earlier and start a bit earlier. Because these are late nights for me. And I'm a night person, so that's not usually a big deal. But I like to unwind after these. And so when I'm done a live stream, I'm still up for 2 to 3 hours to just kind of decompress. But with all of that said, why don't I get to chapter 2 of Necroplasm? There we go, see? And yes, we call it Necroplasm. So, are y'all ready? Move this out of the way. Let's see. How's this? Do you like it this way where I'm covering up my cleavage, or do you want me to move this a bit more down like this? Actually, I think this will be easier if I take the rings off. It's stuck in the lace. There we go. Crap. Okay, this one has to temporarily stay on. Oh, no, is it? Okay, it's off. There we go. Yes, Bobby, I will be doing eventually, once I get things caught up. So I was working on my TYT video, and that got sidetracked by my Charlie Kirk video, which everyone can go and check out. I think I did a really good job in that video, and it needs more attention than it's been getting. And then basically, once I'm done this dog drawing, I'll be getting back to my TYT video. And once that TYT video is all said and done, then I can start focusing on doing more live streams, doing more clips. But that's when I'm also going to be reading my entire book in chapters as separate videos. And so that will be available to the people at the highest tiers on my YouTube channel and my Patreon. So what I'm going to do for different people with different budgets is once they are all up, I'll tell you. And then for some people, maybe just sign up for a month. Just pay 1 month's membership and then you can just binge watch that month. But if you are struggling, I get it. Just send me an email. I'll send you the link. Let's see. Oh, I wish you had the audiobook. So yes, I will be having a form of an audiobook. Where I'll be reading it like basically like this, maybe like not as a vampire, but more as me as I'm reading this. Okay, let's get into it. So chapter 2, we call it Necroplasm. The celebrations of treaties is held every 10 years and is 2 months of parties, competitions, showing appreciation performances and acknowledging accomplishments within the vampire society. Acolytes are fond of this time of year as they are showered with gifts and praised for their hard work. Outstanding acolytes receive the highest accolades and exemption status until the next celebration. Exemption status means they don't have to, but often still do, give blood to our stores or submit for passive feedings, and they won't be called on for a full feeding. At the age of 110, an acolyte becomes exempt and no longer has to meet work requirements. The achievement ceremony was being held at the Southam Hall. The hours we requested were unusual for them, but with enough money, people are happy to accommodate and not ask questions. Money to use in the human world was never an issue. Over thousands of years, we've acquired wealth for our kinfolk to use in the human society, and with everything being digitized, it's easier than ever to have an endless supply of currency for whatever we want. Because of limited space, the event was invite only. Council members and honored attendees had reserved seating at the front. For those who couldn't attend, it was broadcasted on our networks, which were isolated and unknown to humans. To keep a low profile, we don't do anything to draw attention to the event. No red carpet, reporters, or signage. Even though the outfits of the night were designer or meant to stand out, we still dressed up. The dark suit Michael was wearing accentuated his shape and complemented his features. I wore a black dress with intricate lacing and details only vampire eyes could notice. To blend in with the human population, many vampires dye their white, so even with a large number of us gathering, nothing stands out. Traditionally, council members don't dye their white. The ceremony showcased the best of our arts and culture and informed everyone of the accomplishments in medicine, science, and technology. For me, the performances of the dancers and musicians were the highlight. Always so beautiful. Some of them had practiced their routine for 3 years just for this event. Since Michael was the head of administration, it was his responsibility to speak to the growth and status of our communities around the world. He wasn't much of a public speaker, and when he sat back down beside me, showed his relief he was no longer on stage by letting out an enormous sigh. "You did great," I told him and put my hand over his. "Thanks," he replied and gave my hand a squeeze. The oldest vampires, up to 4,200 years old, took their place on stage for the traditional greeting of young ones who had become kin over the past 10 years. Their mentors proudly applauding as they crossed the stage, shaking hands with the elders, and waving to the audience. The number of new vampires were increasing every decade. There were far too many to attend the main ceremony, so similar events are held in all the communities. After they returned to their seats, it was time for a somber moment, one that hadn't been necessary for 100 years. A tribute to Lucas. Images of him appeared on the screen, overlaid with the voices of those close to him, sharing with everyone how special he was. As Michael's words were spoken, I hugged him, and his tears flowing onto my dress. Michael, that was beautiful. I'm sure he felt the same about you. I imagine all of us were shedding tears. To lose one not even 1,000 years old, and for it to be a mystery, was devastating to our society. The memorial ended with a video of Lucas playing with young ones. He loved spending time with them and teaching them as a primary educator. He was nurturing and full of light and kindness, exactly the kind of kinfolk you'd want to be around at such a time as this, which only added to the sorrow. Hua came on stage to sing a song she wrote for this occasion. After training for 500 years, she was the most talented singer I had come across in all my life. Being one of Lucas's relations, the emotion she unveiled was from her heart and gave her notes an almost magical healing ability. As she left the stage, the MC came on and spoke. Before we end tonight's ceremony, we have a last-minute addition, an achievement of unparalleled importance. Vincent, please come onto stage. My stomach fluttered. This was the moment of no going back. The council felt it would be appropriate for him to announce his breakthrough at the ceremony. I was worried about how the population would take to hearing this news. Vincent loved speaking in front of crowds on a casual level, but speaking to our entire society was something he was uneasy with. He nervously cleared his throat. Hello, everyone. I'm Vincent, but you all know that, so I'm not sure why I felt the need to say that. A soft laugh spread through the audience. He shyly laughed with everyone. Oh, okay. I didn't have much time to prep for what I'm about to say for something like this. I wish there was a template. How do you tell an ever-changing world about a change that will surpass all that was before? The tension in the audience became palpable. As many of you know, I've been working on a project, one that could redefine who we are as a species. I'd like to announce that in a couple months' time, we'll be ready to test the first ever blood substitute. We call it Necroplasm. Murmurs of shock and excitement rippled through the audience. Thanks to the help of the human scientist, I believe I have isolated and replicated what it is in blood that gives us life. The testing and results have been encouraging, but due to an abundance of caution, we are taking our time to explore any potential side effects. What I can say for certainty, at least as certainly as a scientist can be, is that it will be possible for us to no longer require human blood to live. A mix of applause and gasps erupted. I know for some of you this may be unnerving, but this substitute will allow us to grow our population at rates like we've never been able to before. Those in the audience who weren't happy with the news became louder. A few shouted it was heresy. I could see Vincent becoming anxious and didn't know how to respond to the audience's jeers. Since I was due on stage next, as I always give the final statements of the night, I got up to join him. Showing my support would help reassure kinfolk. I could tell Vincent was grateful to see me approach. Yes, Minuet, please, the stage is yours. He was about to leave, but I indicated for him to stay. I faced the audience and waited until all the voices had died down. So very often we view change as the loss of something. I addressed everyone. 1,000 years ago, our society changed. Back then, we didn't lose who we were. We became something more. As a tree grows, new rings are added, changing what the tree looks like, but the old rings are still there and vital to the structure. What Vincent has done is given us a new potential way to grow. This is to be celebrated, not feared. We don't yet know what this will do to our society. We don't yet know what path our kinfolk will take. It's okay not to know. If the future had no secrets, there would be no growth. Because of the changes we've been through, we are fuller, brighter, and can fill a forest with no end. On this stage, we've had elders from 4,200 years ago. 4,200 years of experiences of watching the world change. And it's kinfolk like Vincent who are the future, who will make sure we are able to adapt to all the unknowns we'll encounter. I took Vincent's hand with mine and raised them high. Our young ones of tonight will know a world 4,200 years from now. We are one, and we will survive anything the future presents to us. The audience burst into applause, standing and cheering. I looked at Vincent, his smile wide, our eyes locked, and I could feel a wave of his love. It surrounded me, and I almost believed it could lift me up and take me away from the crowds, to a place of peace. I wanted so much in that moment to let him know how I felt, but I held back. What this meant. For everyone, for the sake of everyone, I had to hide my fear, a fear I had hidden for the last 800 years. And that is chapter 2. I've seen a couple of your shows, Looney Tunes. So. Which is why I know what you sound like. Yeah, I don't tend to participate in chats all that much when I'm watching a show because I tend to be doing something else at the same time, like either chores or playing games or something. So I'm a lurker for the most part when I'm on other streams, but occasionally I will join a chat and pop in from time, like pop in and out of the chat type thing. Today I was in the Majority Reports chat because Sam read my IM on air. Where I said that I was doing my Halloween special tonight and that tomorrow, the 5-year anniversary of my channel, where I'll be attempting my first call-in show. It'll be interesting one way or another. I don't know what to expect. It will all be new. Bobby saying, that was a small chapter. It was. Chapter 3, very long though. The Treaties Ball. It's a super long chapter. But let me know what you think. And there's another half chapter I can read that doesn't spoil too much. Or I can read something from this book if you like. Tales for the Midnight Hour. It's a book that I had when I was a kid for campfires to tell scary stories. Oh my God, like the pages are so yellow from this. I just saw what I wrote in it to identify it's my book. I have Sandy's book, not yours. Yeah, this is my book, not yours. But there's the furry collar, the black velvet ribbon, the border, the 10 claws, I think was my favorite one. The jigsaw puzzle, the face, the mirror, the Egyptian coffin. I don't remember half of these. The old plantation, phobia, the train through Transylvania, the attic door, the tunnel of terror, the fortune teller, the stuffed dog. I remembered that one. A free place to sleep, and the Goonie birds. I remember the 10 claws and the stuffed dog. And I think it's the black velvet ribbon. I remember one of those. I don't really remember. I think the jigsaw puzzle, I think I know what happened with that, but most of these I don't remember. I should reread these for a lark sometimes. Hello, Mercedes. Welcome to the SandBox. You just heard me read chapter 2 of my book, Necroplasm. You can scroll up in the chat or pick it up later. I should probably put it, link to it in the description box too. To an episode of This Space where I read the first chapter. So you can go back and listen to the first chapter and then you can know more of the context of this one. Calibrating says, I always sleep with audiobooks. I kind of need yours. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be a proper audiobook, but I'll be doing the videos and then you can always just have those on in the background. Or download the audio only. There's sites that you can do that sort of thing, where you can change them into MP3s. I might have used it from time to time for things. But yeah, let me know where everyone is at. you know, I imagine that this would be a shorter live stream because it's not like I have much prepared. So earlier we talked about dreams and nightmares and past lives. But let's move on to something I like that is just fun and entertaining and light. Some Ryan George videos. He's an amazing comedian on YouTube. I love him so much. So we can watch a couple of his spooky themed videos. And then I might be able to read from Tales for the Midnight Hour, or I can read the other part of my book that I've been talking about. So let me know what you're up to. Looney Tunes says, I mentioned your channel anniversary last night on Leftist Mafia. Why, thank you. Was that like through a super chat or something that they actually read on air, or was that just in their general chats? But yeah, so we're going to watch some Ryan George. I've watched him before on this channel without any issues, so this shouldn't be an issue. So this is his channel, and this is his super spooky paranormal sketch compilation. Let's see. So the first one here is Ghosts Are Bad at Revenge. Let's see. Let me know how the volume is for that so that so it's not overpowering one or the other.
Hi there, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, how did I get here? Oh, you were walking down Main Street a couple of minutes ago, right? Yeah. Then you took that left down Maple Street. I remember. And then you got to King Street and you were like, oh, should I jaywalk across this super busy street or walk over to the crosswalk? You know, the designated spot for crossing streets. Okay. And then, I think you can see where this is going, you got murdered. Oh my God, what? Yeah, real good murder. This guy came up from behind, got you real good. Oh no! Did a big murder on you, a big one. Jeez, dang it. Yeah, so, you know, my condolences to you. So I'm dead. Yeah, oh yeah. And so wait, what is this place? Oh, right, this is the Unfinished Business Bureau. Just want to make sure you don't have any unfinished business on that mortal plane before we send you over to the afterlife. What's behind that door? It's just, you know, whatever leads to the least toxic comment section. And so what do you mean by
I love his humor where it's just like all these subtle things thrown in there too. The least toxic comment section because he doesn't want to say any particular religion. I do feel the need to interrupt it every now and then because I feel like I'm stealing content, although this has had 1 million views, so I don't think that should be an issue.
Unfinished business? Is this like a tax thing? This feels like a tax thing. This is more of a send you back as a ghost situation. Oh! Yeah, people go back for revenge stuff a lot of the time. Well, listen, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind going back and getting revenge on the guy that did a murder on me. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a common one. Who does that, you know? Oh, this guy does a lot. So, like, what's the plan? Like, what kind of things can I do to get this guy back? Oh, we got a couple of options of ghost things we can have you do. I think you'll be pretty satisfied. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Have you heard of doorways? Like a passage through a door, yeah. Okay, so great, so check this out. We wait till this guy has his back turned to one, right? Yeah. Then we have you rush past the doorway, just zip on by. Okay. So. Oh, that's it. That's it, yeah. So he doesn't even see me. Not in this particular strategy, no, he doesn't. So how does that affect him? I guess it doesn't, now that you mention it, but a lot of ghosts do that one. Okay, so no, what's a more intense option that you got for me? Sure, yeah, okay, check this one out. Have you heard of floors? Yes. Okay, fantastic. So we send you into this guy's house, right? And he's going about his business, doing whatever it is he does, and we have you make the floors creak. Right. So he's gonna be like, what was that footsteps or something? And then what? And then he's not gonna know what it was. Yeah. He's gonna be all like, what was that? Okay, he murdered me. Yeah. So I'd like to do more than make him question his hearing abilities. I'm not explaining it well, I don't think. He wouldn't know why the floors creaked. I get it, it's just not good. All right, no problem, man. You're being a little picky, though, I gotta say. What else you got? What else can I do? All right, we got this other popular thing you could do. Have you heard of mirrors? If it's a standard thing in a house, I've heard of it. Okay, so this guy's brushing his teeth, right? And then he goes down and he spits in the sink or whatever. Then when he comes back up, you're in the mirror behind him. Okay, so he'll see me in this one. Yeah, so, that'll freak him out for sure. And then what do I do? Oh, well, he'll turn around and you'll be gone. You'll be out of there. So, got him. We got him. These don't feel like proportionate responses. The guy homicided my entire person. Yeah, and so now you make him have like an unsettling toothbrushing experience. That's not good enough. I don't feel good about these options. All right, man, you're being very difficult, though. I'm just gonna run through some of these. There's gotta be something you like. All right. Oh, you can make a cold spot in his house. So he killed me and make him need a light sweater? Yeah, maybe a cardigan. That's an open window could do that. You want to knock a small object off his table? That's scary. That's something an average house cat can do. We can have you slam a door shut. Oh, we're back to the abilities of an open window. Okay, look, final strategy, all right? This is the big one. Good, let's hear it. This one's like premium, though. This is a big deal. Perfect, yeah. So in this one, we send you back down there. And you have full control of a creepy-looking little doll thing. What am I supposed to do with that? You can kind of turn its head like this. Dolls don't have a ton of mobility. I'm just gonna go through the door, I think. Fine, you know what? You clearly don't appreciate my work, so go ahead. Look, I'm sorry, it's just... you know what? I get it. I'm giving you gold. You think it's scrap, so go ahead. Go through the reincarnation door, see if I care. Oh, crap, the comment section.
I don't think I actually seen this one. Robots are definitely turning. We'll have to watch that one. When you pet stared into nothing is good. Ghost stuck around. He has a couple zombie ones. Psychic powers, yeah. Oh, this one's good too. Because he does kind of dig in some social commentary with some of this. So we'll watch the robots are definitely turning one. If a ghost possessed someone in today's age, that one's good. Let's see. If cats were able to talk, let's watch those ones. I love him so much. So robots are definitely turning evil. But he has a zombie one I want to watch too, where there's commentary on COVID in it. Because he made a lot of these during COVID.
Whenever we at Boston Dynamics put out a video of our robots doing something fun like dancing or moving so swiftly and precisely you wouldn't be able to hear them approaching, our comment sections get flooded with responses we frankly don't understand. Comments like, "Oh my god, it's happening. The robot uprising is here." And "Do you want Terminators? Because that's how you get Terminators." So we just wanted to make a video to put everyone's mind at ease that nothing horrible is going to happen, probably. People should rest assured knowing we're in full control of the situation for the most part. This goes beyond any violent impulses these robots may or may not have been showing. In fact, these robots are designed to help people by doing stuff like performing tasks that can be dangerous for humans, data capture and inspections, operating warehouses more efficiently. And we've been delighted to see that the robots have started to teach certain abilities to themselves. Abilities like sprint faster than human beings, tear flesh apart like pulled pork, and hold gun. There's practically no situation in which these robots would turn to violence, unless one of our engineers accidentally presses the violence button, which we keep next to our office light switches. Even in the event of a violent uprising, we do have fail-safes in place. At the very first sign of violence, our engineers are trained to sternly tell the robots, "You don't have to do this." We strongly believe that should probably do the trick, maybe. One time I walked in on all the robots chanting in unison in a language I think they invented. then that's probably fine. And our intern that disappeared last week has started responding to messages, so all is well and he's definitely alive. In conclusion, please continue to enjoy our dancing robot videos and trust that they will never turn evil. We're almost sure of it. I have to go.
He's so funny. But yeah, this is his, so it's a spooky paranormal sketch compilation, but they're all individual. So I have seen that one, which I've seen pretty much all of his videos. So it's just a matter of if I remember them or not. So there's When Your Pet Stares at Nothing. That one's also really fun. I just want to watch all of them. They're all so good. Because then there's one, let's see. If Cats Were Able to Talk, which is good. They're all good. They're all so good. The Wild West. This is scary because it's reality. Yeah. And if you go back and pause on things like this.
To enjoy our dancing robot videos.
So he always adds in like these little details when he's doing things. So this was the message that the missing coworker started sending. Greetings. All my human vital signs are normal. Oh, good. All my human flesh is still attached to my human body. Great. He adds these little things in there, which just makes all of his videos just that much better. Oh, we can also watch an Eamon Hawke video later. He's made a couple of really good ones recently. But how about When Your Pet Stares at Nothing?
Oh boy, look at you over there. You sure are a good dog. Oh.
My cats will stare at nothing a lot. But I think they're looking for bugs to go and attack.
Over there, look at you go, being good and everything. Maybe after this episode we go for a W-A-L-K? Huh? Would you like that? Oh man, if you could spell, you'd be freaking out. You'd be hey buddy, what you looking at? There's nothing there. I don't love when you do that. Are you seeing something that my human eyes can't see? I'm just gonna go back to the TV. Hey, kill your owner. Go ahead, do it. Kill him. I'm a ghost. Go ahead, kill your owner. It'd be hilarious if you did that.
I would never take this man's life, you son of a bitch.
You're literally a son of a bitch.
Irrelevant.
Well,
I will protect this man's life until my dying breath, and only over my lifeless body will you ever be able to. And then I'll send you back to hell where you belong.
All right, jeez.
I like this guy. He's a good guy.
I can see that, man. Obsessed much? What about you? You down to kill him? Oh, yeah, already working on it. Okay, awesome. It's gonna be funny.
Let's see. And I also like this one. Yeah, Ryan George is just the funniest. He also does pitch meetings. So there's a pitch meeting channel. So it used to be part of Screen Rant. Pitch meetings used to be a part of that channel, but then it splintered off into its own channel. So you can see them on Screen Rant, or you can go to pitch meetings. I believe they're starting to upload all the ones from Screen Rant as well. Down you go, kitty. This outfit isn't good for you to be on my lap with. We might watch a pitch meeting too of like the Halloween compilation, the Halloween movies. And if you like honest trailers, you'll probably love pitch meetings. It's the same type of humor for the most part. But let's watch one more for now. And then we'll move on to other stuff. So this is If a Ghost Possessed Someone in 2020.
Hey, What? Look at me. Check me out. Yeah, okay, your eyes are white. What is this a possession? It's a frickin' I'm possessing this guy. You're a spirit? I'm a frickin' spirit, and I took over your roommate as a vessel, and not the space kind of vessel, the ghost kind. Okay, yeah, sure, that may as well happen. Why are you laughing? Well, I mean, at this point, it's kind of just like, sure, you know? Okay, I don't think you understand. I'm a spirit. No, I understand. Possessing this. I'm in human form right now. No, I get it. You're a ghost. You've taken over my roommate's body. It's just, there's been a lot going on this year, so it's kind of just like, you know, okay, come on in, ghost, sure. I don't want to make this uncomfortable or anything, but this is it's a big deal. Yeah, well, add it to the list of big deals, you know? What? Look, I don't know what to tell you, man. Things keep happening, and all we can do is sit around and be like, oh, another thing is happening. Okay. So are we done here, or what's going on? Well, no, we're not done. I have this whole possession thing I want to do. Okay, so what is it that you want? You know, just throw it out there. Well, first of all, I'd appreciate a bigger reaction. You know, a spirit is back from the dead here. Yeah, well, two old shaky guys are arguing about which one of them gets to be president during the apocalypse, so you can't really faze me at this point. Okay, but like my whole thing is that I'm gonna spread evil throughout the world like a virus? Yeah, we already got one of those going. Oh my god. You want a beer or something? No, thank you. I'm just this doesn't faze you? Like not even a little? Look, man, this is 2020. You could set a state on fire and we won't be talking about it by next week. Oh, man. Okay, well, this is kind of throwing a wrench in my plans here, to be honest. Oh, yeah, plans. I remember having those. Oh, you're making me nostalgic. I was gonna go on vacation this year. Can you imagine? I was so young and naive. It's just, I've been planning this for like 100 years, dude. Like, I got unfinished business on this mortal plane, and so I'm back. Yeah, well, that's just bad planning. Excuse me? If you had unfinished business, why would you come haunt people that had nothing to do with that business? You know, I never actually thought of it that way. Why do us ghosts keep doing that? Friggin' think about your objectives a little bit, ghost. Leave us alone. So hold on, are you acting this way because 2020 made you stronger, or just like numb to everything? Oh, I'd like to say stronger, but honestly, who knows? Would you say that everybody's in the same kind of mental space as you, or could I get a better reaction out of somebody else? No, pretty much everybody's like this now. Okay, I didn't realize this was such a bad time. Well, it is. Do you think things will be better in like a year or two? God, I hope so. Okay, Oh, why does this guy have a scratchy throat? Oh, crap. Does my roommate have a scratchy throat? All right, grab a jacket. We're gonna have to go get tested. Tested? What does that mean? Well, they grab this 6-inch swab and shove it into your nostril and move it around in the cavity back there. Oh, my God. That sounds awful. It's not fun. Okay, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna come back in about a decade, let you guys figure this all out. Probably a good idea. So, I guess good luck with everything, you know? Why am I in the living room? Yeah, you got possessed by a ghost with unclear objectives. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go back to bed. All right, sounds good. Pretty sure we have COVID, by the way. Yeah, okay, sure, that may as well happen.
Oops.
This video is sponsored.
Yeah, there we go. Main shot. I do, so it's not in this compilation, but there's a zombie one that's also kind of COVID related that's fun. I want to see that one too. Oh, there it is. So, okay, we're going to watch one more and then we'll move on.
Man, that zombie problem's getting pretty bad out there. It's weird how the muscle spasms make him do the robot like that, too. Yeah, I didn't think the robot would be such a big part of the apocalypse. Pretty freaking crazy. Well, I guess we better bunker down here for a while. I just can't believe Bill Gates did something like this. I know. Wait, what? I mean, I guess we should have seen it coming, but still. I don't think Bill Gates has anything to do with this. Oh yeah, he's definitely behind this. You notice how we keep having to look through windows? Why would he? So he can figure out a way to track us. What are you talking about? He's gonna make an anti-zombie vaccine, and then we're all gonna have little tracking devices on us at all times. Where did you hear that? A bunch of articles I found on Facebook. On the GPS-enabled smart device that you voluntarily purchased and unlock with your face and carry everywhere? You know it. There's a guy that explains the whole thing on patriotbattletruth.info. Oh, that is a very sketchy URL for sure. Dude's a patriot and battles to tell the truth. How is that sketchy? Okay, I mean, either way, we should definitely stay inside. What do you mean? Because of the zombies. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, I'm gonna head out. Wait, what are you doing? Well, listen, I don't like being inside this much, so I'm gonna go to some places. But there are zombies. Yeah, I feel like we should definitely avoid going out as much as possible. Look, it sucks that some people are zombies, but it's a very small number. You can't let that control. Like, if I get bit, I'll probably be fine. Okay, but you could spread being a zombie to other people. Okay, but we can't stay inside forever. We gotta work to feed our families and stuff. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, people do need to work for a living. So I'm gonna head out. Okay, look, if we're gonna open up the economy, let's do it safely, okay? Wear these headphones. Headphones? Well, like 99% of medical professionals are saying that zombies can smell your brains through your ears, so if you wear headphones, that could stop the spread of, you know, being a zombie. Oh, right, okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. What? Why? Well, headphones get uncomfortable after a while. I mean, a little. I don't like how they feel on my ears. Okay, but if everybody wears them, we could potentially save a lot of lives, right? Like, if you become a zombie, you can make somebody else a zombie. Okay, right, but you gotta look at it from my perspective too, which is that your ears would be uncomfortable for a little bit. My ears would be uncomfortable for a little bit. Right. My ears. Okay, well, look at it this way. Wearing headphones is an act of compassion, right? Because it's not all about you. Okay, look, I see what you're saying, I do, but let me just ask you one thing, okay? What? Say I were to wear headphones. Yeah. And this is just a hypothetical, right? Right. Would my ears be comfortable? Not completely, no. Well, then I'm not doing it. Okay, do you maybe see how that comes across as selfish? Listen, if you wear headphones, that blocks the air inside your head and it's going to blow up like a balloon. That's just basic science. Right, do you have any scientific data to back up that claim, or? Well, I don't believe in science. Also, headphones probably don't do anything. Okay. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna go to Walmart and I'm going to lose my mind at some minimum wage employees. Please don't do that. Look, I don't know what to tell you, man. Health officials are trying to infringe on my liberties, so I'm going to go yell at a teen mom who's just trying to get by. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, but they're trying to save lives, right? It's like how they tell people to wear seatbelts. Okay. Now, why would I wear a seatbelt? Oh my God.
I love him so much. Yes, Soul Life. Ryan George is Canadian. He lives in Montreal, I believe. So he is bilingual, and he sometimes uses that in some of his sketches. But yeah, he's also done some videos, clips, critiquing capitalism. And he recently, I think like a year or two ago, made a second channel called Ryan George Extra or something. I'm subscribed to both. And so those are a bit longer form videos. And some of them he'll go in and just talk shit about luxury homes that are for sale and be like, and on the back wall, there's the Gates to Hell artwork or something like that. And it's just so much fun. So much fun. I think it was a baseball bat calibrating. Yes, Soul Life. I will be having a call-in show tomorrow. Well, I'll attempt one. We'll see how it goes. I got my IM read on Majority Report about that, which is super fun. Hello, Ethan is Agreeable. Welcome to the SandBox. Yes, he is awesome. I've watched all Ryan George videos, except I think there's some shorts I haven't watched, so I'll have to watch all of those too. So like, OMG, I literally watched Karen do that at Walmart back when everyone was still wiping down their groceries. The cashier owned that Karen. Her daughter looked his age and embarrassed as fuck. But yeah, so he my guess is his politics leans progressive, but he tends to keep it out. Like, this is the most political, what you just saw. That tends to be like the most political that he gets with certain issues. As well as like his critiques on capitalism. So a lot of his other stuff is more just situational and whatnot. But yeah, it's he is really clever and smart, and I love his humor so much. So what are people up to in the SandBox other than staring at my boobies? Let's see. You see, I have a standard rule for when I do these types of live streams that I have to be on at least as long as it took me to do my makeup, and I've surpassed that a long time ago. It doesn't actually take me that long to do this type of makeup. But, you know, getting the white streak and everything. The white streak makes sense. If you read the first chapter of my book, you'll know what that's about. And I can't wait until I start doing the sequels and prequels to my book. Oh my God. I can't wait. But I have to get the TYT video done first. Hello, Moon My Bye. I just noticed you were live. How long ago did you start? I started at 7 p.m. Eastern. And this is my Halloween special. I've been doing this every year since I started my live streams, where I dress up as a vampire, and this is just a hangout. Politics is always brought up in some fashion when I talk, but this isn't like a news live stream or anything of that sort. It's just, you know, hanging out, having fun. Tomorrow, I'll be doing, it's the 5-year anniversary of my channel, and I will be doing an attempt at a call-in show, and that will be at 6 p.m. Eastern, as far as I know. No soul life, I have said over and over again, and when Minuet is on this space, the vampires do not claim Tulsi. She is completely human. Vampires are more civilized than she is. Moon My Bye, I need to find out when you normally have a live stream and put it on my calendar so that Google can remind me. I usually try for Sunday evenings for my news live streams. 6 is when I tend to start them, but I would like to start them earlier. So usually by 6 p.m. on Sundays, I'm doing a news live stream, unless there's something that completely messes up my day and I can't do it that day. And I want to start getting into doing more live streams and stuff, but really it's the TYT video that is holding me back, because I was working on it, doing some decent work on it. Then the Charlie Kirk thing happened, and so I did that video. And now I'm working on the doggy portrait in the background here, this one. As part of a fundraiser, I had donated a portrait, so I want to get this done. And once that's done, then I'll get back to my TYT video, or videos at this point. And once those videos are done and off my plate, finally, it's probably going to be a year in the making for these videos by the time I get them out there. Then I can focus on trying to do more live streams, short video essays, like ones, you know, more along the lines of like the Rational National, the Humanist Report, and clipping more of my live streams and whatnot, because I really need my YouTube channel to pick up. Because you know, I'm struggling financially, which is why I'm so grateful for all the people that helped out recently for the massive expenses that I've recently come across. But it doesn't take much. I live cheap. It doesn't take much for me to make enough money where I no longer have to ask for those things, that I'd be able to pay them off on my own. You know, my only dependents are my cats, so yeah, it doesn't take much for me to get into a range where I'm making enough to get by and not have to ask when there's an emergency for help. And then I'm also in the place where I can toss somebody $20 or $30 when they need it. So let's see. The Wild West, I judge people who are rude to cashiers so hard. Yeah. Oh, I think I'm going to sneeze, and I sneeze horribly. Like, I always sneeze a bunch of times. It's never just one, and they're loud. And then every time when I'm around people and I sneeze, they look at me and be like, "Are you okay? Or what was that?" And I hate that so much, because I can't control how I sneeze. And I know at some point I'm going to sneeze on camera, and then that will just be embarrassing. But it's one of those things, like, I always just roll my eyes, because as soon as I sneeze, somebody will do the, "Are you okay? What was that?" And it's, again, I think it's one of my autistic things where I'm like, why is it that whenever you make a bodily noise of any sort, the people around you feel a need to comment on it? Like if you burp or fart or cough or sneeze or anything like that, even yawn, the person, like, people near you will be like, "You just yawned." It's, yeah, I know. But it's like there's this constant need to make comments on the bodily functions of somebody else. And then I've been around people where they've, like, farted or something or sneezed, and I just don't react to it because, yeah, I know what they just did. But then they look at me like, I made a noise. Did you not hear my noise? I made a noise. Did you heard that, right? It's just like, I don't get it. Like, everyone does these things. I don't know why people feel the need to comment on them. Let's see. Bobby, have you heard of a guy who does car detailing called Detail Geek? He makes old cars look brand new. He is in Canada. I would no, I don't. I wouldn't watch that. It's not interested in that at all, unless he's going to fix up my car. So life, just saying, I've seen my boss make cashiers and servers cry a few times, and it was completely unnecessary. Ugh. And I hate that. And I always, like, even times when I want to freak out, I hold back because I know that whoever I'm going to freak out on isn't responsible for shit. And I've been in the situation where people have freaked out at me for whatever company I was at, and there was nothing I could do about it. But they were just like yelling and screaming at me, even though there's, again, nothing I could do to change their situation. Like, I can tell you about the worst day that I ever had on a job. Oh, it was a rough day at work. So, give me some love in there if you want to hear my story of my worst day of work. So usually what I'll do is, like, if I've been on the phone with somebody and I'm about to freak out, I'll say, I know this is not your fault, and hang up on them before I then, like, completely lose my mind. And it's also why I don't like stealing from retail and stuff like that, because it's not the company that takes the hit. It'll be the workers, especially if they're in some sort of retail job where they actually do keep track of, like, how much theft is done under an individual and stuff. But yeah, give me some love in the SandBox and I'll tell you about the worst day of work I ever had. I've had a bunch. This one sticks out because there was one job I had at a chip wagon for a few days. And you'll understand why when I say, like, the first day of training I was on there, they had just trained me on how to make the French fries and stuff. And they were mucking around with the gas stove and it blew up in the guy's face. And so his partner who was there rushed him to the hospital and left me at the chip wagon to look after things while they were at the hospital. And it's like, you could have just shut it down, but here I am. I had like 2 hours of training on it, and suddenly people are coming up wanting their French fries, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying my best here. Instead of shutting it down, they just left me there to work at it. That was not the worst day of work. Well, you see, B-Cat, I'm not Minuet. I'm Sandy, pretending to be Minuet for Halloween. I'm dressed up as Minuet for Halloween because during this space last Wednesday, I had her dressed up as I wanted her to dress up because it was like close to Halloween. And she rolled her eyes at me really hard. And then she's like, fine. And so she went on as a human. And, that doesn't seem like it's a big thing, but I know it was a very sweet gesture because I know how much she hates being referred to as a human. But she went on as a human, and would refer to, the humans with pointy teeth when talking about kinfolk. So she did that nicety for me on Wednesday. So now for Halloween, I'm dressed up as her. And I've read the second chapter of my book, and if I get lots more love in the SandBox, I'll read the first half of another chapter, which doesn't give away spoilers, but it has a little bit more of a horror element to it. That's kind of fun. The Wild West wants to hear my worst day. Ooh, Bobby's going to get some tacos. I'm going to need to eat after this. Hello, B-Cat. Oh, hello, Rachel Atwood. Calibrating, saying I look like their racist psychiatrist. Well, I hope I don't sound like your racist psychiatrist. BCAT, capitalism made you run a fire station on your first day. Yeah. Never mind that I just watched a gas stove blow up in somebody's face. He was fine. He was fine. I wouldn't be laughing about it if, it scarred him for life or anything. He was fine. But it was still just like the idea of, oh, you've been trained for 2 hours and this thing happened. And instead of shutting down, which would have been appropriate, while I take him to the hospital, you're on your own. And I was like 16 at the time. Yes, BCAT, I'm going to be doing a call-in show tomorrow. Ethan is agreeable, says the outfit looks really great. Well, thank you. The Blue Jays are doing a game. Right, it's the final game, isn't it? Hello, Donald James. Hey, stopping by to say hello and give thumbs up to Minuet, right? I'm dressed up as Minuet, so the fact that you can't tell me apart from Minuet means that I nailed it. Because she dressed up as a human for me last Wednesday on this face. Well, I need to get some love, a little bit more love in the SandBox if you want to hear about my worst day at work that I can at least recall easily. There might have been other worse days, but this one was really bad. Because I've been in a situation too, working retail, like at a bookstore in Christmas season, and all the Visa and like the debit machines go down and you have people waiting in line and you're trying to tell them, it needs to be cash only right now, but they'll still wait in line. And then as soon as they get to you and then you say, we don't have credit card ability right now, they'll scream at you. And it's like, we've been telling you for the past 15 minutes, our debit machines are down. And the store manager's like freaking out because, it's Christmas and there's long lines and stuff. And yeah. BCAT, that's good. I saw a chef burn off a lot of skin on a fryer once. Ew. Yeah. No, I think he basically just lost his eyebrows until they grew back. So Life, oh my god, Wendy's are switching to mini fry baskets, so you have to cook fries faster and more often to guarantee freshness. It sucks. It shouldn't be used in busy stores. Rachel, if they win, it's over. If they lose, there's one more game. Ah, okay. I thought this was like the final game. Oh well. It's one of those things like, yeah, sure, it'd be nice if the Blue Jays win, but I wish I could separate myself completely from it because it's not like all the players on the Blue Jays are Canadian. I wouldn't even know how many or percentage-wise. And the idea that a random sports team would represent the country, but at the same time, I still feel it, because I was super young when they won back in the 90s, and I remember that, so... Because giving some love for the worst day story. Well, Les, I'm watching the game, but listening to Sandy's stories. Scary stories, yeah. Well, I'm not expecting money right now for the love for these stories, but, yeah. Rachel Atwood, thank you so much. Let's do this. I need to find a quicker way of doing this because this is neat, no doubt about it, what I'm doing right now that you guys can't see, but it takes a bit. It's kind of like back when I had to rely on Microsoft Paint and what I was able to do in Microsoft Paint because I didn't have access to a more advanced Photoshop thing. So this is me compensating for that by doing these little things, and it's doable. It takes a minute. There we go. But here, thank you so much, Rachel, for the $2 super chat. I singed my eyelashes lighting a gas stove once. Ugh, that sounds horrible. I can't say that type of thing has ever happened to me, but thank you so much for the super chat. You see, another way that I could do this is just wait till the end and then acknowledge all super chats, and then the layout would be a bit different and easier, I think, for me to do this. It is what it is right now. I don't really get enough super chats, I think, to save till the end of the day or something. But I appreciate every little bit that people can get, because, you know, it's a struggle. I like my YouTube channel to pick up so that I don't have to worry so much, and I can start giving back more. But for people who are joining a bit late, this past week I had to put out a call for financial help because over $1,000 needed in car repairs, Frodo's vet bills. I'm still waiting to hear from the second blood test if he's healthy enough to undergo surgery, to have a mass removed that's on the side of his neck. That's really worrying me. And if they think he will survive the surgery, then that will happen. And I have no idea how much that will cost. And this past week alone was about $300 in vet bills, on top of some annual expenses that come up this time of year. And needless to say, I'm feeling the pain.
Ding dong, ding dong.
I probably should have put my phone on silent. So I put out a call for help, and as a way to pay it forward, for every $300 raised towards these bills, I will do a portrait for someone living with poverty at cost. So what that means is all they're paying for is
ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
All they're paying for is the digital scan, a print for my records, and the shipping. And then if they want, I can pick up a cheap frame and custom cut the map for them, and they would just be paying for the frame. And so for every $300, somebody living with poverty would get that deal. And that's now open to 6 people because of the amazing generosity of the people in my community, people who I didn't think cared, who do. So there's that. So if you are living with poverty, I'm not going to means test you. You know, you determine for yourself if you think you live with poverty. If you could never afford one of my portraits, just send me an email and I'll give you more specifics on it. It's going to be a first come, first serve type basis. Donald James thinks I look great. Why? Thank you. And who was ding-donging me? Anyway. There we go. Let's see. Getting caught up. The reference frame is also sending love for the worst day. For the worst day, yeah. Let's see. Moon might buy. I don't even know if I'm saying your name right. I am writing a letter to the Governor General. I want to finish by Monday. I'm ADHD. I'm wondering if there's somebody who wouldn't mind pestering me over the weekend to continue to work on my letters. Well, I'm doing a live stream tomorrow, call-in show, my first call-in show, attempt at one, and my regular news live stream. So if you tune into those, I'll try to remember, but with my ADHD, it's a bad mix. The Wild West, my ringtone is Ding Dongs from Sam Cedar. It's nobody else in the world has this ringtone because I made it. And I wanted it because when you go to these buildings, you enter in the code and it goes to your phone as opposed to a buzzer. And so I wanted like a doorbell sound, and Sam says ding dong quite a bit. So I got 3 of his ding dongs together for that. So it's a unique ringtone, but since rarely anyone uses my buzzer, I thought I would just make that my standard ringtone. The reference frame, all frames matter. There's no such thing as a cheap frame because all frames are valid. There is no preferential frame. A cheap frame as in it's not going to be fancy. It's going to probably be $30, but it won't be Walmart. At the bare minimum, I get it from Michael's. There's a framing shop around here too that I might get it from because it's just the quality of frame. Like the mat has to be acid free so it doesn't damage the paper later on and stuff. So yeah. I worked in a few galleries that also had framing departments, and custom frames are outrageous, yeah. Yeah, because I had to custom cut the mats for them. So, you know, an 11 by 14 frame is fine. But then the standard mat that comes with that has an 8 by 10 opening. But my drawings are on 9 by 12s. And so I have to, generally speaking, I have to open it up a bit more. And so I just use the mat that it comes with and custom cut it. And it's taken a lot of practice because it's a little bit more challenging than people think to make sure that it's just right so that it pinches the paper properly and stuff. Because it's just, it might be a me thing, but you could get like a 9 by 12 frame, but there's no mat in it or something. And I'm sure it would look just fine, but I don't like the idea of the artwork pressing up against the glass. So for me personally, I think there should be a mat there so that it's not pressed right up against the glass. But, you know, if that's what you want to do, there will be a seal on it, so it should be fine. But that's just maybe a me thing. Okay, I'll tell you about the worst day that I had at work that I can recall off the top of my head. So I used to do door to door for a gas company, you know, here's your fixed rate. And this is when I was living in Toronto and desperate for work. I also actually kind of liked it, like not so much that it was fixed rate gas, but I liked walking in the different neighborhoods. I got to see parts of Toronto I would have never seen otherwise. And I got to see like some really interesting neighborhoods, interesting houses and stuff. And I like walking. So generally speaking, I kind of liked the job. But, you know, it was fixed rate for a gas company. You know, sign here to get 5 years at this rate or whatever. Most people who get heating by gas knows about this. And I had some scary incidences with like dogs. You know, people not keeping their dogs properly on leashes and stuff. And I was fairly good at it too. But one day I get to this one house, and just as I'm getting to the door, two older ladies approach the door, and one of them lives there. And so she gets basically dropped off by her friend, and she sits down. She sits down on her front porch and starts, and I'm like, you know, I'm telling it in the order that this happened, but really this one should be saved for last. And so she's an older lady and then starts telling me about how her family was all taken to the concentration camps in Germany and were killed. And the only reason why she survived was probably because she had the blue hair and blonde eyes. And she showed me her Nazi tattoo, like the tattoo that the number tattoo that they put on them and stuff. And she ends up crying and stuff of that sort. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. Because the absolute last thing I wanted to do at that point was be like, so, gee, can I offer you a fixed rate on your natural gas? And so I didn't know how to help her or anything because she was obviously still dealing with the severe trauma she had been through. And I didn't, you know, like I didn't prompt it. This was the story that she was telling. And so, you know, I just left. Like I wished her well and hoped that she was okay, waited till she went back in her house. And then I just left. And so I was still kind of coming down from that. And about 10 minutes later, I get to this Nara house. And the man there starts screaming at me. I hate your company. I hate everything you do. I hate it. And he is yelling and yelling at me. And there's like literally nothing I can do. And he is just screaming. And I'm like, I just leave his door because again, there's nothing I can do. And I'm trying to knock on other doors and he's still screaming at me like 3 doors down how much he hates the company and everything that it does and whatnot. And I'm just like, there's nothing I can do, nothing I can do. Then 10 minutes later, I knock on another door and I guess an older middle-aged woman answered. And suddenly she just starts talking about how one day she woke up to find her husband cold and dead on the floor. And now her daughter blames her and won't speak to her. And so she's living in this 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house all by herself with nobody that cares for her and stuff. And meanwhile, like, I'm on the verge of poverty in my bachelor apartment. Like, I was on the verge of losing my apartment. And I'm like, what do you do? Like, it's just, there was nothing I didn't prompt it. She just, again, was volunteering this information to a complete stranger that knocked on their door. And so at that point, I crossed the street, sat down in a little park that was there, and I used the company cell phones that we had to call the manager, and it's like, I'm going home. And he's like, "Aw, what's the matter? Did somebody yell at you?" I'm just like, fuck off. I didn't say that, but that's pretty much what I was feeling. I was just like, no, I can't handle this day. No, I'm going home. I'm going home. But that was, I only lasted about an hour on the job that day. Let's see. Orb Frumer rebuilding a deck. Ask the man who built it. My son-in-law. Why isn't he repairing it? He's in prison. What for? Murdering my daughter. I wish I wouldn't have asked about the deck. Yeah. We might buy ADHD, like blind leading the blind, but ADHD friend can follow. And my jumping around. I once said there's no B or C in ADD. BCat, you can put a spacer in the frame, cheaper than a mat. Well, a lot of frames come with a mat, so you're just adjusting the mat that it comes with, so that's not a big deal. And it looks like people are reacting to my worst day with big eyeballs. Yeah. Like, I did like the job for the most part, because I saw some fascinating areas of Toronto. There was one house. The resale value on it was probably impossible, like nothing. But I loved it because, you know, I'm autistic. I didn't know back then, but I'm autistic. And so I loved the quirky and stuff. And so this person, what they had done was they had covered everything with wood knots. So, you know, when you have a board and there's a wood knot, you can usually poke out the wood knot and use just this round piece of wood. The fence, the deck, the front wall, the shutters, ornaments on the lawn, everything was covered with these wood knots. It was pretty incredible to see. Yeah. Oh. So just a reminder to people living with poverty, feel free to contact me. If you're in the States, keep in mind shipping's probably going to be a bit more. But it's not, people keep on thinking it's this outrageous rate, but it's been like $20 or something Canadian to ship to the United States. Customs might be a bit different. I don't know how that works. And that's partly because it's a drawing that I'm sending. It's pretty fucking light, you know, it doesn't weigh anything. Rachel Atwood, like a hobbit hole? No, just everything was covered in these wood knots. It was really neat. So, let me know what people are interested in. I can read the first part of another chapter in my book, which I really like and has a little bit more of a horror element to it. And then you'll learn about Brody. Some of you might remember Brody. because I was asking, I needed to know how to spell his name. And the letter hack came through for me because the letter hack was able to point out that his name was Broderick, which, yeah, and Brody is short, the nickname for Broderick, especially if they're from Chicago, which Brody was. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that was the short form for his name, but yes, it was. And so the letter hack came up with the spelling that I ended up keeping for Brody, because it wasn't Brody, which is more common. It was Brody, this character's name. And so you'll be introduced to Brody in this. It's Broddy. So like odd, like this is odd, E. So it's Broddy. But yeah, and Brody will be brought back in the sequels and have a much more significant role. But maybe I can brainstorm with you guys for some prequel ideas while we're here. But let's see. Looney Tunes wants to hear more. BCAS. Oh my God, Sandy, hugs. Are you talking about my worst day at work? Rachel Atwood, your vampires aren't all randomly European? They're from all over the world. There's reference to Gavin in here. He's a vampire. He's one of the oldest. His backstory is very interesting. And in the book, it just refers to his dark skin. He's from Nigeria. And so the oldest vampires that are 4,200 years old are the elders. And they're basically the first generation of the vampires. And there was only about 100 of them at start. But then through the chaos after the trials and some inner conflicts, there's only about 50 of them now. So they were the first generation. And within a couple generations, Gavin and his brother were discovered. Now it's exceedingly rare for siblings to have the same ability to turn into a vampire. And when that happens, they become super duper close. And Gavin's brother was the faction leader in their area. So brutal person and stuff. And he ended up breaking away from his brother. So there's that. Hua, which I just mentioned in the second chapter. She's from China. Danielle's from India. So yeah, they're from all over. They're from all over. But yeah, because I need help, especially when it comes to a character like Gavin or Danielle, because I have no idea what was happening in Nigeria 4,000 years ago. And I like to add actual historical references into what the vampires are doing, and have some crossovers or some relevancy between some and whatnot. So yeah. BCAT, some people aren't built for cold calls, and I am one of them. I will have a better handle receiving phone calls than when I call. Like when I call into the majority report, I freak out. I'm not good at that, especially because I can't see them live because there's a delay. And generally speaking with strangers, I don't do well on the phone, and I much rather do video calls. But when people are calling to me, it's a different dynamic, and I have a better job with that. So we'll see. Soul Life is finally back at the hotel. Oh, or Broomer, have a good night. Check out the rest of the stream to hear another part of my book, if you're interested. Okay. Shall we get back to the book? Am I falling out? Well, the trick, Rachel Atwood asking if there will be a video call option tomorrow. Here's the problem. I'm going to be using StreamYard, similar to how the letter hack uses StreamYards for the call-in shows, because all it takes is a link, and then you can come in. But the quality of video, and it's a much more difficult layout for me to work with when I'm using StreamYards as the main picture. Because when I have somebody on my show, I use StreamYards because it's free. But then what I'm doing is I'm using OBS to capture the screen. So that means that if I accidentally open anything on the front screen where this is, it would show in what I'm doing. I have to do these weird layout things. It's a lot more work and I have to stay a lot more tentative to it. And then the quality of the video just isn't as good because it's a screen capture from, you know, a smaller image. So I don't want to do that. So I want my main camera to be going through OBS, and it can only go to one place at a time. If I had 2 web cameras, there's one available on my wish list if anybody's interested, then I could have one web camera that's dedicated to OBS and then one that would be good for StreamYards. So the audio can still come through because the desktop audio can still be played through that. And so I won't be using the video camera for the StreamYards. So my video, you wouldn't see my video on StreamYards. And it's delay from what you would see on YouTube as well. So yeah, it's just going to be an audio call. So Life saying use Microsoft Teams instead, great quality screen grabs. Don't you need to have like an account with them for that? Because like that's the thing, like Zoom, if I was doing a short, like super short show, I could use Zoom because I can have one person on Zoom for 45 minutes for free or something like that. But yeah, it's got to work with what I got to work with. If somebody wants to pay for my StreamYards membership subscription, then that's different. But they would actually have to pay for the StreamYard subscription, like directly, because if they were to say, oh, here's some money, use it towards StreamYards, that's not going to happen, because when it comes to just here's generic money, I have a lot of other priorities I need to have met first before I could then be like, okay, I'll have StreamYards for a year based on this. And part of the reason why I still use OBS to stream from StreamYards is because I have the free package on StreamYards, I don't get access to like making a fancy background, adding my logo or anything of that sort. So I'm really just using it for the screen capture part thing. BCat wants to hear more book. Yeah. I will do that. Hello, hermeteorologist. I read the 2nd chapter of my book. You can go back and read. Teams is free too, unless you want to have advanced settings. It's always that's always the trick. Okay, I will read 1/2 of a chapter because the 2nd half of the chapter would just give away too much, too many. I don't want to have too many spoilers, but the first half of the chapter, it's just a little fun, a little horror related. Hi, Lanier. Lanier is here right now, but this outfit doesn't accommodate a cat sitting on my lap. Hey, sweetie. So here we go. Chapter 5, The Archive. And you're also going to hear about Gavin. Gavin's in this chapter. So you hear about Gavin and Brody. Or Brody, I mean. Ugh, now I'm getting mixed up. His name is Brody, not Brody. Brody. So let me get comfortable with this. No, you can't come on my lap right now, sweetie. So just a little bit of a pretext for this. At the Treaties Ball, which if you read the book, 3rd chapter, you find out about the Treaties Ball, Minuet had met up with Gavin and saying, I want to come by the archive. Gavin said, is it just going to be professional or personal visit? They used to have a thing. And she's like, well, it's always going to be some fun with you. And then Gavin says, well, what if I told you I have a Nova permit I've been hanging on to, and I think the right time to use it would be your visit. And Minuet says, well, then I would say it would be rude of me to not accept. And so a Nova permit allows, it's when they've targeted a human for death, for assassination, and it allows for a certain amount of collateral damage. And so Minuet had asked Gavin to go to the archive. He looks after the archive. And so this is her at the archive with Gavin, which is a mansion, a house in Massachusetts, which I never know how to pronounce properly. But if you've seen House of Knives, it with that kind of like clue murder mystery type thing, that type of mansion, I guess you could say. So it's not like a fancy mansion you would normally think of, but like a country mansion type thing. And so they're at the country mansion. Gavin had arranged for his Nova permit humans to be at the mansion for her visit so that she could partake with the Nova permit. Okay. How do you know Gavin? Mr. Witherspoon asked me as we sat around the oakwood dining table. He was a rounded man in his early 60s with solid gray hair and rosy cheeks and nose. Oh, Gavin and I go way back, some pleasure, some work. Now we're just friends. You don't strike me as the type to know how to play the big games. Why is that? Too pretty? I fluttered my eyelids. Too female. His stern gaze didn't break. You'd be surprised at the games I'm capable of playing. Mr. Witherspoon, Gavin said with a thick Boston accent, the accent Mr. Witherspoon and his men were accustomed to hearing from him. I don't take kindly to you questioning my friend. I said we can talk openly in front of her. She's as solid as they come. No disrespect meant. I'm just trying to get a feel for the kind of person she is. I don't like last-minute changes to the attendance. And Gavin had invited Mr. Witherspoon to the Massachusetts country mansion to celebrate the close of the real estate deal, a deal that required the tactics of, let's say, people familiar with alternative forms of persuasion. Mr. Witherspoon brought with him 4 of his associates, and Gavin had promised them a night of good food, rich booze, and exotic entertainment. I said, Gavin, dear, it's quite all right. I think your guest is upset to learn I'm not the entertainment. Mr. Witherspoon's crew chuckled at my comment. He remained unbroken by my attempt to put him at ease. Please, Mr. Witherspoon, ask me anything. It's understandable you'd want to know who you're sharing drinks with. In your line of work, suspicion is warranted. So, you're not part of the network? Not anymore. What is it you do now? I got involved with politics in Canada's capital. Someone with my skills set fits right in with politicians. Politicians are the dirtiest of us all, Mr. Witherspoon huffed. The only difference is they buy their way into power. I prefer a more direct approach. I'd imagine so, a man with your reputation and all. So, the capital of Canada, you say? Toronto, he stated confidently. Excuse me, boss, Brody said. The capital of Canada is Ottawa, not Toronto. A common mistake. Brody was in his mid-20s, small compared to the company he kept, and came across as nervous when correcting Mr. Witherspoon. Are you saying I'm foolish enough to make a common mistake? Well, no, sir, it's, I only want to, I said, Mr. Witherspoon, you're right. It is Toronto. I gave Brody a wink and a playful smile when Mr. Witherspoon was busy being full of himself. You're right, boss. Brody played along. My mistake. How about a toast, Gavin said, to closing the deal. I know you had to go to extreme lengths to secure the deeds to the lots I required, and I appreciate your efforts. We all raised our glasses in cheers. You know, Mr. Witherspoon said, I never understood why you wanted those lots. Of all the places in Chicago to stake a claim, they don't seem to have any strategic value. Kind of isolated and not ideal for development. Actually, boss, Brody said, it is ideal as a storage facility and distribution hub, but not for what we would normally deal with, more on the scale of an Amazon. And Gavin and I locked our gazes on him. Not that it would be any business what you do with it. Stop blurting out whatever comes to that tiny head of yours, Mr. Witherspoon shot at him. If you keep speaking out of turn, I'll toss you back on the streets where I found you. It's all right, Gavin said. He's a curious one. He just needs to learn when it's appropriate to speak up. But I do appreciate a young mind trying to grasp bigger concepts. The lots I wanted may not have much value now, but they're ideal for future endeavors my organization has planned. The servers brought out the food. Cuts of the finest steak, vegetables and potatoes perfectly roasted, sauces with zing, freshly baked bread, and scallops as a side. "My compliments to your cook," Mr. Witherspoon said. "This smells delicious, but where are your dishes?" "Oh, Minuet and I have special dietary requirements. Our food will be ready shortly. Please don't wait. Enjoy it while it's hot." The men ate, drank, and laughed and talked business. They were enjoying themselves so much, they seemed unaware of how much time passed, and still Gavin and I had no dishes in front of us. "I must say," Mr. Witherspoon said, while dabbing his mouth with a napkin, "if this food is any indication of what your entertainment will be like, I'll have to hire your services for my son's wedding." He gave a hearty laugh. "How about you let us in on what to expect?" "Sure, just one thing first." Gavin turned to me. "Minuet, your opinion?" "I second." "Great. With that settled, time for us to eat." Gavin and I stood up, smiling at the men. "Am I missing something?" Mr. Witherspoon asked. A nervous tick twitched his eye. "You don't have any food." "We do," Gavin replied as I clipped back my long hair. "Now that our business dealings have come to a close, we need to tie up loose ends." The men stopped what they were doing and looked at us with trepidation. This served to increase my appetite. "Hey, now, this isn't funny. We had an arrangement. No one will know what we did for you. And I intend to keep it that way. You, your men here, know a little too much for our comfort. If anything happens to me, there'll be hell to pay. I'm not concerned about any hell a human can unleash on me." Gavin and I smiled with our fangs extended. "What the fuck?" a man yelled. They jumped up from their chairs. Gavin lunged at Mr. Witherspoon before he could pull out a gun, pinning him down to the table, then biting into his neck, his blood spilling onto the white tablecloth. He struggled and struck Gavin, which didn't even cause him to flinch. Horrified, the other men went for the doors, only to find all exits were bolted shut. Two of the men frantically pulled out their guns. I grabbed the closest man to me, easily took the gun out of his hand and used it to shoot the other man holding a gun. Then I turned back to him. The third man clutched the crucifix around his neck. As I approached him, he yanked it off and thrust it towards me. I always find this response amusing. I pushed him against the wall and bit into his neck. His adrenaline added an extra kick to his blood, which I savored. "God save me!" he yelled as I dug my fangs in deeper. Feeling him struggle set off a primal instinct in me, which caused me to release a growl as I fed. His rapid heartbeats came to a sudden stop. Finishing our meals, Gavin handed me a napkin to wipe the blood off my mouth. Brody was sitting against the wall, trembling. He had grabbed one of the guns that had fallen to the floor and was shakingly holding it up. "Easy, Brody," Gavin said as he slowly crouched in front of him. "Put the gun down. You're not in any danger." What just happened?" "I'll tell you. Could you put the gun down first? You're unlikely to kill us with it, but being shot is annoying." Brody put the gun down, and Gavin cautiously pushed it out of his reach. I knocked on the door. Acolytes came in and began collecting the bodies. "Is this real?" "Yes, Brody. Minuet and I are vampires." "Are you going to kill me?" "That's not the plan. We had originally marked you and your boss for death, but during our dealings, my people recommended we take a deeper look into you. It became clear to me you are the reason Mr. Witherspoon is as successful as he was. In short, you impressed me. Minuet was evaluating you this evening and seconded my desire to bring you into the fold." You're going to make me into a vampire?" No, nothing like that. I'm offering you entry to the Acolyte Society. You'd be working with us, but remain completely human." "Do I have a choice?" "Like I said, you were marked for death, so it's this or..." Gavin shrugged. "You still need to go through more testing, but if I didn't think you'd pass, we wouldn't be having this conversation." He held his hand up and beckoned over an acolyte. "Mindy will take you up to a room where you can get fresh clothes and anything else you need to settle. She and a few others will sit with you and make sure you come out of the shock okay. When you're ready, they'll tell you what you need to know. For now, just know you're safe. All right?" Brody nodded his head. "Come on up. This is the start of a new life for you." And then it goes into a second part in that chapter, but that would give away too many spoilers, I think. But that is Brody and Gavin. When I was doing like one of my final tweaks to the book, I decided to have Gavin have a cute little quirk of pretty much every time you hear him speak, he's using a different accent. Calibrating. I love your voice, Sandy. I know your book will be Hell Inspire. Well, it's been available for sale for a while, and I've only sold like 50 copies, but you know, I appreciate the compliment. So pronounce Moomai. Moo like a cow and add me. Oh, Moomy? There's a by at the end. Moomy, okay. It's the name I got from a type of mommy, since I'm his mother and Allison is the other. She became Ommi. The by are my initials because Moomai was taken on. Oh, Moomy. Okay, I gotta try to remember Moomy, but I'm probably not going to remember because I've already been saying Moomai by for quite a long time. So Moomy, I'll try to remember that. Moomy, kind of like mummy. Hey, Lanier. Yes, I have a cute cat here, but it's very hard to have a cat on this lap with this outfit for reasons. But he desperately does want to come out and say hi to everyone. Soul Life saying, we lost, Speak Cat. What do you lose? Hey, kitty cat. Hey. This is Lanier. Yes, Lanier. These are very thin arms on this chair, but he'll still just sit on it. The Wild West, you are my Moomy. With his tail right up in the air, blocking my mouth right now. Yeah, so let me know what you thought of that part of the chapter. I love reading my book. Like, that's the thing. I don't know what it's like for other authors, but when it came to this book and my other secret book, I've read both of them easily a dozen times, editing and re-going over and stuff like that. Not once have I gotten sick of them. And I actually look forward to it. I look forward to the different parts that I know are coming up. Like I love my books. But please pick up Necroplasm and then you can read the rest and you can know all the rest of the context. But what I need some brainstorming help from everyone. And I might take these teeth out in a minute because I would like to drink and you're not supposed to drink with them in. Even though I have a drink with a straw, I'm worried because I don't want to swallow them. So approximately 500 years ago for the vampires, the new mandates had to be put in place because vampires were getting a little bit too loose with the rules to the point that they were almost exposed to the human world. And so new mandates had to be put in place to kind of put more restrictions and rules on their society. What happened to make them do that? So what happened about 550 years ago to 600 years ago in the world that I can maybe tie this over with? Like an event in the human world that I could connect this with somehow. So what are like big wars or something, or, you know, the Church of Alexandria being burned down? I know it was a lot longer ago that happened, but something like to that scale, like a big historical event that happened about 550 years ago to 600 years ago. That would make them want to or even 525 years ago, to make them want to put the new mandates in place. So some sort of very significant historical event that happened around that time. The Wild West, this cat is fascinating me. Lanier and I, we have our ups and downs in our relationship. He can be sweet and cute and all that sort of stuff, but he's also very problematic at times. He has some behavioral issues that I don't know what to do about. And sometimes he's fine. You know, I don't know if he'll grow out of these issues or not. I try to work with him, but sometimes I'm worried that I picked the wrong cat. Reference frame, you mean the Library of Alexandria, not the church? Yeah, that's what I meant. Although that happened way, way longer ago, I know. But, you know, like a historical event from about 525 years ago to 600 years ago, that would be significant enough. That's, you know, so I don't know. I don't know. Rachel Atwood, Europeans first reaching the Western Hemisphere. Was it that long ago? I guess so. Let's see. I think it would have to be happening more. It would have to happen more in Asia, Europe, or Northern Africa, or the Middle East, like in that area, because the primary settlement for the vampires back then was Italy, because Italy was kind of central to a lot of these areas. So I would think, like, it doesn't even necessarily matter at this point which one. Asia, Northern Africa, the Middle East, or Europe. But, like, I have to find out things about, like, what was happening in Nigeria 3,000, 4,000 years ago to see if there's anything that I can tie into the vampire society with them. And the same with Danielle. She's from India, and she's 1,600 years old. So I need to find some things to tie into her. Like, these are all things that can be loosely tied in with them, because the vampires still live in their own separate societies for the most part, and they only cross over with humans as a necessity for trade and travel and access to food. So especially like back thousands of years ago, they didn't have any settlements in amongst the humans. It's only when the humans started to become way more populous that they started to have settlements within human communities and cities. And so that only started 500 years ago, that they were starting to move into have settlements in cities amongst the humans. Because before that, it was only retreats. And so, like, I know one of the storylines with Danielle, some of her backstory is, so before the treaties, before the trial, when the faction leaders were in charge of the vampires, and they were much more like the world powers of today, very brutal and fierce and warmongering type thing. They wanted to have, and this isn't in the book, this will be in the prequels, so I'm not spoiling anything in the book. This is in the prequels. So the vampires back then, what they wanted to do was make two classes of vampires, like two statuses of vampires. And okay, this is a bit of a spoiler, so plug your ears if you don't want to hear this. How soon a vampire is found in life will determine how fast and strong they are. So the fastest and strongest vampires were found as babies. And so what the vampires did is, if they found someone 3 and under who could become a vampire, they would initiate the process. If not, they would wait until the child was very close to puberty before turning them. So then that way there was a big gap in the strength and speed of vampires, so that they could have their different statuses that they wanted. Well, with Danielle, so you have all these settlements for the vampires, but they all don't stay in one. So there's little satellite ones that would be the equivalent to like a rest station on the trails and whatnot. And so one of the outer small retreats for the vampires in India, they came across a 6-year-old, Danielle, who who had the gene, obviously. And so one of them there just like kind of said, screw it, and decided to initiate the process when Danielle was 6. And when the others of her little group of that retreat found out, they kind of freaked out because they knew if the rulers, their rulers of their faction, found out that they had initiated the process with the child in between those spaces, there would be hell to pay. And so when Danielle was growing up, they tried to get her to hide her strength, and to not let people know or kinfolk know when she was initiated. But at some point, it was revealed because I had some working ideas in my brain as to how she accidentally used her full strength in front of others. Because she was much stronger than the low status vampires, but she's still not nearly as strong as the high status vampires. And so then they were able to clue in that she was initiated at an odd age. And at that point, those that turned her, those that initiated it, died horrible deaths. They didn't punish Danielle, but they punished those who did it to her. And then Danielle had to, she was somewhat of an outcast in her retreats because the low status ones viewed her as a high status because she was much stronger and faster than them, but the high status ones still looked down on her because she wasn't as strong as fast as them. So she was a bit of a in-between outcast for them. And so that's a lot of like Danielle's backstory that is not tied to anything that was happening in India at the time. But I do want to have like events every now and then that I can use as a tie-in to things that were also happening within the vampire societies. Rachel, the disease and destruction the European colonizers brought to the indigenous Americas changed the course of history. It did, yeah. Hermatologist, what? Darn it, I'm missing too much. You'll have to go back and watch the rest of the stream. It can be related to religion, Rachel. The Black Death was in the 1350-ish. Is that in the timeline? I'd have to do some time math. And that takes me a bit of time to figure out time math. The reference frame in Italy around 1500, there was a war with the French around Milan. Ethan is agreeable. Sandy, that reading was great. I bought a copy in July. I'm moving it up in my reading queue now. Why, thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Rachel, maybe a vampire plague that affected population numbers the way the bubonic plague affected humans. It might be able to be tied to the plague, but I want it more behavioral. Like this was the vampires were getting out of control with what they were doing, which risked exposing them to the human population. So I will no doubt tie the bubonic plague to the vampires somehow, or acknowledge that the plague was happening and how they were maybe trying to keep their acolytes separate from them or something, so that the acolytes weren't affected as much. And maybe this did have some effect on the vampires, but it wouldn't be necessarily lethal. Rabies, oddly enough, is lethal to the vampires, but not a sudden death. It affects part of their brain that gives them a lot of their abilities as a vampire. And so what would happen is they would start to age if they got rabies. And a lot of their ability to heal faster, their speed and strength would also dwindle. So rabies was technically lethal to them as well. So the bubonic plague could maybe have some effects on them. But there will definitely be references to the bubonic plague with some of them. But I want something like the library burning or the Crusades. The Crusades don't line up per se, unless they do. I don't know I know the Crusades. I don't necessarily know which years they were active. So something like that, like an action, an activity, a behavior that the vampires were indulging in, that risked exposing them to the world. I don't know when the caste system first developed in India, Rachel, but I do know that there is a parallel between the caste system in India to what the vampires were doing to themselves. But the caste system in India is completely a construct, whereas what the vampires were doing was actually making a very distinct physical difference between them. And there's a character that is not yet mentioned in this book that is also I'm developing, who has an interesting backstory as well in what was happening with her. So there's so many sequels and prequels planned. Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't even wait to like just get it plotted out on the timeline, because as I start doing that, more connections will be made and I'll start understanding more of the stories better. Because it's weird how my brain is working on it, not in a linear process, but like all these spots all over the place are just making a picture like a stipple drawing. And sometimes I don't even know what that spot is for, but then suddenly it makes a lot of sense because it's not acknowledged in this book either. But for months, I had known that Raphael, who is Minuet's kin, and if you read the first chapter, and if you go back and watch the first chapter, you'll know what that means. So sort of like her child. Minuet's kin, Raphael, refers to her as Min Min. And I don't really know why he was referring to her as Min Min. And it wasn't until months later that I found out why. And it's like I'm doing this like I'm discovering it as opposed to imagining it, because in a way I am. But the reason why he calls her Min Min is the kin of the kin is referred to as kin kin. And it doesn't matter how many generations. So Raphael's kin would be Minuet's kin kin. And it could go back 5-10 generations and they would still just be kin kin, to refer that this is the kin of their kin. And when Raphael heard that, he's like, well, you're my Min Min. It's like, okay. But it's like, I found that in the opposite direction than one would think. Rachel, Ivan the Terrible lived and ruled during the 1500s. You want to talk obscure Russian history? I'm happy to help. That could work. Annette, who's mentioned in this book, she's from Russia. It's not stated in the book, but she is. Just like it's not stated where Gavin is from. It is stated where Minuet is from. She was from Norway. Danielle's from India. That's stated in the book. Michael is just referred to as Mediterranean, but he's from Italy specifically. Raphael is Hispanic. And where he was born wasn't so relevant because he was born by acolytes. So what country he was born in is of moot point. It's just his ancestry is Hispanic. Lucas is from Sweden. And Vincent is from France. And that one's mentioned in the book as well. He's from France. But yeah. Yeah, the Aztecs, they get destroyed. Reference frame, you said 500 years ago. Well, it'd be like 525 to 600 years ago, because the new mandates came in 500 years ago. So they would have needed time to make those. So too late for the Crusades or the bubonic plague. Reference frame is saying, yeah. Like I imagine the Crusades and the bubonic plague will still be brought up in some of their backstories, but might not be the reason for the new mandates. Calibrating. I've been thinking of how to get in contact with people not able to care for themselves or their pets. Not sure. You'd have to be a lot more specific in what you're looking for there. Rachel, mass shifts in societal behavior, maybe a dark side of the Renaissance could be involved. Yep, that's entirely possible. Yeah, and I also need Western Africa about 4,000 years ago. Rachel, because Gavin, who is one of the oldest, so he's like second or third generation. I haven't quite learned that yet. And he's from Nigeria. And so again, a lot of what will be happening will be dealt with within the Vampire Society, but I'd still like to have some references to actual historical events. Yeah, we did get rated by Kevin Logan, which is super appreciated. I tuned into his live stream briefly before mine. So that's one thing of brainstorming I could use help with. But yeah, so I want it to be something that happened in Northern Africa, Asia, Middle East, or Europe, like in those areas. That would make them have to impose the new mandates to kind of keep everyone under control so that they didn't expose themselves to the humans. But I'm so looking forward to just writing out the timeline, figuring out more specifics, their exact age, what year they were all born in, all of that. And then I'll learn more about their histories when I start doing that. Plus I want to do, I guess like in a video game where you have like, here's a character, here's their strength, their speed, their special talents and all that sort of stuff, their description. And I want to do that for all the characters, like have all these character outlines for them. Like things as simple as like Minuet is only 5'3", you know, she's 5'3". Raphael is only 5'5". He's also a twink, if you need help with visualizing him. He's a bit of a twink. You know, Vincent is 6'3". Michael is 6'1". Lucas is 5'10". I know all of these things already. Annette is 5'9". Danielle is 5'7". It's just... Because whenever I'm not participating in reality, I'm in that world and I'm seeing them and stuff. You can see I've been at this for about 3 hours, so Rachel, which one looks like Owen Jones? Well, you see, part of the reason why Owen Jones resonated with me was if Raphael and Lucas had a baby, that would be Owen Jones. Like, just from what I pick up from Owen Jones, like I don't know him obviously, but from what I pick up on from him, I see both of those characters in him so much. And so Lucas would look very similar to Owen Jones, but not exactly like Owen Jones. But like the blonde hair, blue eyes type thing. But I think Lucas, his appearance would be more like a cross between Owen and Brad Pitt. Like a cross between those two. But it's just like some of the personality traits between Raphael and Lucas, and they are a very serious couple in the book too. It's just Owen Jones resonated with me that way. That's part of the reason why I think part of my brain wanted to draw him. The reference frame. Well, if you go to 600 years ago, you get too many conflicts in Europe, like the fall of the Islamic Spain through the Reconquista. In England, there are Wars of the Roses. 4,000 years ago is roughly like 2000 BC, right? Yeah, be roughly about that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to plotting all this out, but I have to, like, that's the thing. I have to get the TYT video done first, because as soon as I start this with the book, that will be my world. Like, I still be able to do like my channel and artwork, but any sort of massive projects that take a lot of time and thought and focus and energy, I won't be able to do, because everything will just be tied into this book. So that's why I have to get the TYT project done first. But when I go on my walks, as I love walking as a way to unwinding and stuff, I'm in that world. I'm living in different times, and it's not a linear process that I'm living in. So I can see things 50 years in the future and then 1,000 years in the past, and it bounces back and forth in all these places. And I'm getting to know some of the characters, and then I'm learning things like, oh, so the three of them were responsible for the Civil War down in the States. Got it. And so that's Gavin, Danielle, and another character that isn't mentioned in this book, and she's from Somalia, Ethiopia area, and is about 2,000 years old. And the three of them are responsible for the Civil War that ended slavery down in the States through indirect means. And the other character, I don't have a name for her yet. The placeholder name is kind of like Simone, probably because of the gymnast. And her interesting characteristic is she was the oldest found that still turned. So she was 14 when they came across her, and she had been living with the humans the entire time up until then. And she only had a 3% chance of turning into a vampire. And on the eve of her 17th birthday, she developed a white streak in her hair and turned. So that means that she is also the weakest of the vampires. And because of that, she always felt like less than and put down and things of that sort. But then, I don't want to tell too much of the story. I'm getting into it. I always get into it, and then I don't shut up when I start talking about this. But that's some of her interesting characteristics. But then it's pointed out to her that, you know, if she wants to stop being treated the way she is, make herself more useful, in that she is closer to humanity than any other vampire. So even though when they're turned, they have no memories, their knowledge stays. So it'd be like waking up from a dream. So when they initially get vampire blood, they start losing their memories of their human life, but their knowledge is there. Their sense of identity is still there. It's like waking up from a dream and having that dream drift away. But especially for the ones that are older when they're turned, and Vincent was older when he was found as well, a lot of their knowledge is more concrete in their heads. So this character, she would understand humanity in a way that none of the other vampires could. And she could be that bridge between them, because the vampires do have to negotiate with the humans, do trade deals, land settlements. Like, they have to have relationships with the human world. And so she could be that mediator between the two of them, because she would understand how humans act and what they're like far better than any vampire. And she also has a much more keen ability to learn languages, human languages, because of it. And so she becomes that ambassador in a way between the human world and the vampire world, which makes her far more valuable in the eyes of her faction leader. But yeah, that's just some backstory. Like I said, I live in this world. I live in this world. Calibrating, say, oh, I'm sorry, Sandy. It's just killing me. My up people's relatives are unaliving the pets they inherited. Ugh. There's most likely animal rescues in your area. Most areas will have some sort of animal rescue, pet rescue, cat, dog rescue. I would try contacting them, or even the Humane Society, and getting the Humane Society to go and investigate. You can do that anonymously, but you know, if you contact some animal rescues in your area, they might be able to help guide you in what to do in those situations. Because it is tricky, because even the Humane Society, unless there's like clear evidence of abuse or something like that, they can't just seize an animal. They have to get permission and all that sort of stuff. So I would try going through the Humane Society or contacting local pet rescues to find out what you can do about that. Rachel saying the War of Roses was the primary inspiration for one of the main storylines behind Game of Thrones, right? I don't know. The Wild West vampires are so fun for the time traveling aspect. Yeah. The reference frame technology is also changing in the 1400s. The printing press, small firearms are making their way into war. Constantinople falls to the Muslim Ottoman Empire. In Africa, many kingdoms fall to Islam. Constantinople is actually has a role to play in the book. Because I wanted something for Minuet and her kin to go through right when he first turned. So when he was 15, 13, something like that. And so I started, and he's just over 500 years old. And so I went back and there was an earthquake and tsunami that hit them. And I'm like, that's kind of perfect for what I want. So there was an earthquake and tsunami that hit Constantinople about 500 years ago. So that's going to play a part in the book. So according to Google, humans lived in what is now Nigeria since 13,000 BC. But not culture and civilization there didn't emerge until around 1500 BCE. Yeah. So this will all be a lot of fun for me when I actually start plotting it out and figuring this out and making their game cards, you know, the character strengths, their special abilities, their appearances and stuff, to really help me kind of blend it all together. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Because I already have like a lot of events that have been happening with them. And so now when I start plotting that out, I'll have like specific dates. Of course, they don't use a human calendar, but I'll have to use a human calendar because we're human. But I'm starting to get a little pooped out. I still have this book here, Tales from the Midnight Hour. From when I was a kid. It's really old. I don't know if I have the energy to read one of these right now. Because I'm kind of pooped out here. I've been like this and I haven't been able to eat or drink. So I think I might be calling it a night. But like I said, I'll be on tomorrow. I could always read another story when Minuet is on this space. I could read a horror story. So let me know if that's something that you would want to hear during this space. Rachel says the way I say out is cute. So Life, did anyone read the Tales You Tell in the Dark books as a kid? I think this book is probably akin to that. Very similar. But let me know if you would like to hear some of those stories, and then when Minuet is on this space, she can read them. So that's last Wednesday of every month. She's on this space. I've included the link to Minuet's first appearance on this space because she reads the first chapter of the book. So you can go back to that episode of this space, which I've linked in the SandBox, and you can watch it there if you've missed that. I once also read it on my channel, but since I've read it on my channel, I made some minor changes to the chapter. So you can still watch the one that's on my channel. It's still mostly there. But I could tell you what the minor changes are. And it's like they're minor changes in the context of like it's just a sentence, a couple sentences are changed. But it's because of a bigger overall picture that those changes were needed. But yeah, So I'm doing my call-in show tomorrow, probably starting at 6 p.m. And then my regular news live stream on Sunday. So you get 3 nights of streaming from me in a row. But I won't look like this in all of them, and I look pretty damn good right now. Oh, I wish I had more reasons to dress up as a vampire, but I think I nailed it this time. The hair, the makeup, everything. I like totally nailed it this time. The outfit, well, I know you guys like the outfit for some unknown reason. I wonder what it could be that you guys are liking the outfit so much. Let's see. But yeah, calibrating, have a rose hip tee for me. Yeah, I'm pooped and I probably need to get some sustenance in me and just unwind and relax. So, call-in show tomorrow. Hopefully, if I set everything up properly. And then my regular news live stream on Sunday. So let's do, just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Nope, I got those. Put those up there. Does my back hurt? Not from these, if that's the question. These don't cause the issue. I was in a car accident when I was a teenager. That causes the lower back issues. I fractured my lower back in it, and it wasn't treated because it was such a minor fracture at the time, they didn't notice it right away. And then almost a year later, when I went to the doctor, I'm like, I still have pain in my back. They're like, they didn't tell you? And I'm like, tell me what? Your back was fractured in that accident. So I didn't have any proper rehab or treatment or anything after I had fractured my back. So, yeah. I do have lower back problems, but it's not from this. But yeah, I'll bring up the Tales for the Midnight Hour when Minuet is on this space to see if people would be interested in that. But yeah. So check out my socials and stuff. And again, if you are somebody living with poverty that normally cannot afford one of my pet portraits or portrait of a person, there are 6 opportunities right now for you to get one at cost. At cost means you're paying for the cost of getting it digitized, a print for my records, and the shipping. That's it. All the other kind of time and resources put into it is on me. So just email sandylofus@gmail.com if you are interested. I'm not going to means test anyone. You know, if you are one of them. Just looking at the back, I need to change that. Anyway, losing track of what I'm doing. But I still have those bills to cover, especially if Frodo has to go through the surgery. I don't know how much that will be at this point, so every little bit helps. And you can send e-transfers to sandylofus@gmail.com or use the PayPal link in the description box below. All that money goes towards helping out with my car and vet bills. And thank you to the mods for keeping the sandbox clean of turds. Thank you so much for all the wonderful support that I have received over the 5 years of doing this channel. I wouldn't have been able to do it without all of you wonderful people. Yeah. And I think I'm done. I'm done. So, did I miss anything? Yeah, you also know the link in the Amazon wish list and all. You know. I just don't want to sign off when I look this good. Anyway, I'll see some of you tomorrow. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today.